Hello again, Broncos country.
Really excited to chop up some Broncos with you all this week.
Bourbon, Broncos, and no BS.
Orange
It is that time, your favorite time of the week. We're not for the Raiders, Chargers, or Chiefs. So grab your brews and your fantasy league. We got that blue and orange blood that you bleed. Rock, Lindsay, Sutton, and Judy. We are the Mile Broncos country.
Orange Weekly, fans, brews, and Broncos news. Hey, Orange Weekly crew and fans and Broncos fans, wherever you are, Broncos country. Glad you're all here tonight. My name's Kev Deanna. Welcome to the Orange Weekly live stream of the NFL 2021 draft. We got a lot to talk about. We want to hear from you all as we go through the night. We'll be talking about every team's picks and what it means for the Broncos when they get to their number 9 pick. And I have Ray here with me. We'll have some others hop on with us here as the night goes along as well. If the Broncos trade down, we will be here, even if it means we're here for 4 hours. If you listen to the pre-draft podcast, you heard that if the Broncos trade out of the first round for some reason, we don't pick till tomorrow. I'm going to stay here all night long. Oh, wait, I'm going to stay with you the whole night until we pick tomorrow. So whenever the Broncos pick first, we are going to be here through then. Ray, good to see you, man. How you doing, man?
Man, it's been great, man. Kate, if I'm seeing you, that means we're closer to the football season, and there's so much to be excited for these Broncos. And you want to talk about a whirlwind of about 12, 24 hours that the Broncos have had. You know what I thought we were going to be doing, yesterday about noon is completely different than I think our strategy is going to be today. Can't wait to chop it up with you and the rest of the homies. And, of course, all of you guys out there, thanks for being with us today and rock and rolling as we see what happens in this draft.
Awesome. Hey, hit that share button for us, guys. Hit that like button. Tell your friends about us. Bring everyone in. Let's talk about the Broncos side of all of this versus listening to what they say on TV. So tons of people in here already today. I appreciate all of you all. Shadow, glad you're here on YouTube. Make sure you all follow us on YouTube as well. Juan, good to see you. So first off, tons of comments. We're going to try and keep up with them as much as possible tonight, guys. But Juan, right off the bat, surprised tonight or no? So there is big news there, Ray.
Yep.
The big news is that Tim Tebow tried out as a tight end today. So
that's what I was thinking as well. Yeah.
Hear that. So.
Yeah, unfortunately for Tim Tebow, his Twitter clout went to zero as soon as Adam Schefter tweeted out about Aaron Rodgers. But if you missed it,
there was that part, wasn't there?
Tim Tebow did try out as a tight end for the Jaguars today as his MLB career came to a screeching halt. RIP, you know what I'm saying, Timmy T. But, hey, last time Timmy Tebow was in the news for us, you know what that meant? We got Peyton Manning. I don't know if it's a sign. I mean, I know Tebow believes in Jesus, so here we go. If it's a sign, we hear about Timmy Tebow. The next thing that happens is that Aaron Rodgers is on the trading block, or at least is demanding a trade out of there. Does that have something to do with the Broncos? Short list. I think it said 49ers, Broncos, Raiders. So that's a really interesting threesome to see on there about who could potentially land Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. You're all fantastic. Some names I haven't seen before, so I appreciate you all being here tonight. Remember that, during the season, we do these shows every Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Mountain Time. Bourbon to Broncos, no BS. If you haven't seen already, we are going to be drinking and hanging out with you all tonight. So
heck yeah,
responsibly. Don't drink and drive. But kick back, relax, and enjoy your time with us. We're glad to be here with y'all. Casey, I like this. This is a song on Spotify. That's a good idea. We don't have an Orange Weekly playlist. We might create one. It does need to be edited based off of the names that have left the team, but there it is. Let's see, Reno, how you doing, Mr. Red Cloud? Tebow
Red
won
Cloud
the playoff game. Yes, that is
absolutely true. And probably top 5, top 8 history moment in all of the Broncos history. I mean, one of the greatest plays, unbelievable run. And of course, I mean, you love him or hate him, I don't care what you have to say. But if it wasn't for Tebow, we don't get Manning. We don't get the Super Bowl. We don't get the 5 years of just wonderfulness with Manning. So,
yep. We are about 5 minutes away from the start of the draft. Daniel, 104.3, the fan says Aaron Rodgers' deal is as close to as done as possible. Dude, I respect.
Wow.
I respect the fan. I'm not talking bad about him. I don't always trust them right off the bat. So for me, yeah, I don't know. I'm still sitting here saying I'm not going to throw any money on us getting Aaron Rodgers. Not even a cent. I'm sorry.
And here's what I think is important to remember is I truly believe that Deshaun Watson was plan A. It was plan A, it was plan B, and it was plan C. I think we were all in on Deshaun Watson. And, I don't want to brag or nothing, but this is all pre-scandal. I had about $250 on Deshaun Watson coming to the Broncos at like plus 2,000 odds. I mean, he's going to pay some ridiculous amount of money. Of course, he massaged that away, if you will. But here's the other piece of this. I mean, so we were all in on the marquee quarterback. There's no doubt about it. The other piece is Bridgewater is a has-been. The Bridgewater move yesterday was just getting a veteran in the room. There's the George Payton connection to Bridgewater. Bridgewater wasn't going to start a game for us this year unless there was some extreme situation. So it's not smoke and mirrors, the Bridgewater situation. It certainly pumped the brakes. Dude, I would Ricky Williams the next 2 drafts for Aaron Rodgers. You could have picks 1 through 7 this year and next year, and you can have whatever you want to. If we can land Aaron Rodgers, that would be just an unbelievable game changer. And I don't know if you saw this, K-Dan. Pro Football Focus a couple days ago put out their top rosters, 1 to 32. Any idea where the Broncos landed on what they believe to be the best rosters in the league?
Oh, I don't want to say 32.
No, and in fact, Pro Football Focus.
I would guess, man. I would say right there in the middle, around 16.
They listed the Broncos as the 6th, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th best roster in the entire NFL. So, hey, take it or leave it for whatever you want to. But if you got the 6th best roster in Aaron Rodgers, you know what the Broncos have just become? A Super Bowl contender. I can guarantee it. With the 16th best roster in Aaron Rodgers, you are a Super Bowl contender.
Yeah. Hey, so this brings up Juan here, and everyone, again, appreciate you tuning in. We're going to be here all the way through the Broncos pick. My name's Kevin. I'm here with Ray. Matt's going to hop on later. Jared is going to hop on if he gets over the Fauci flu and decides to actually come on the show with us tonight. I'm sure he's watching. So, dude, get over it. Come join us. Have some fun.
Get your ass on here, Jared.
But yeah, so hit that share button, please. Remember, tell everyone that we're doing this. You don't need to sit there and listen to the NFL Network, guys. Let's talk amongst us Broncos fans. So talking about this, Jared, I'm sorry, I'm just so used to Jared being here.
Yeah.
Right. 3 first rounders for
Done.
Aaron Rodgers. It's easy.
Done. You could have 3 first rounders and 3 second rounders and 3. I don't care what it would cost. Now, K-Dan and I were talking about this a little bit, and I will say this about the Broncos. We fast forward. We go back. 8 or 10 years ago, we get Von Miller. Between Von Miller and I think Garrett Bowles, I can't recall a single first rounder in that window. And I'm sharing that because it's a little bit of a crapshoot on the first rounders. Even if, and what was the stat? Like, none of the first round quarterbacks in the last 9 drafts are still with their original team that they got drafted by. I mean, it's insanity. Now, we've gone Bowles, we've got Fant, Chubb, Judy. I think we've done some good work on the first rounders in the last few years to get some key pieces. But the fact that it's such a crapshoot a little bit on the first rounders, I think probably in the last 10 years, we're talking 5 out of 10 of the first rounders have actually turned out to be legitimate players for our roster.
Right.
Full. You could have every first rounder I just talked. You could have every single one of them. I mean, are you telling me that you're not going to trade Judy, Fant, and Chubb, or Judy, Fant, Bowles, or all 4 of them, or any combination of those guys for Aaron Rodgers? 3 first rounders is literally nothing.
Yep.
Get it done right now, sign the papers. Let's get it done.
So here's the other thing, because, with all these rumors, obviously they're rumors. We're seeing already in our comments, 104.3 The Fan is saying, yes, this is basically done. NFL Network is saying, no, there's no way that's going to happen.
Right.
Yeah, obviously there's a lot of who knows, right? The other thing to keep in mind, though, and something that's interesting is as we are approaching the start of the draft, and once again, everyone, we are going to be here through the Broncos pick, whether that's today, maybe it's tomorrow. I'm going to stay live until the Broncos make a pick in this draft. I'm going to stay live. The other part of this rumor is that the Raiders are another favorite. So do you want to not go all in on Rodgers, and then you're going to have to play against Rodgers? Now you have a conference, where you have Pat Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers. You're playing
and Herbert, who looks like he could be this. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do you really want to be that team?
Oh God,
have a quarterback like that? You're
You're
the outside looking in at that point, and so you gotta do something. That's something that I'm keeping an eye on as well. Are the Raiders actively going for this as well? And obviously, I think that they would. So
it's a unique time right now in the sense that for the first time, I think as long as I can remember, sort of NFL players calling the shots a little bit more and sort of demanding trades and also demanding where they're going to be traded to, right? I think that's a unique combination that we've seen unhappy players before, right? Chris Harris Jr. We can get unhappy players are part of the game, but unhappy players demanding trades is such a unique world that we have not seen, I think, in the NFL. As far as I can certainly remember, I can tell you this: if Rodgers is a Raider, Broncos, we're done for a minute. We as Broncos fans, we have we have a long time coming, 5, 6, 7, 8 years before we really are the top dog back in the AFC West. And that just gave me acid reflux just thinking about that, So I think Peyton would be, well, first of all, let's do two things. Peyton has been all in on every quarterback so far. So I think Peyton is going to make the phone calls. And number two, if you're not all in on Aaron Rodgers, there's 4 teams in the league that shouldn't be all in on Aaron Rodgers, as far as I'm concerned. He is top 2, top 3, reigning MVP. He literally is as good as it gets. And he's probably got, 5 years left in him at least?
I was going to ask you, there was a question earlier, how many years does he have left? Julian thinks 4, you think 5. I'm right around there. You saw, he was the MVP. He is not anywhere close, just be right, I'm broken, I'm old, I'm down, right? So Reno, look, okay, so Red Cloud, if you haven't seen our show before, most of us, I don't say most of us, me especially, but a good many of us here at Orange Weekly are of the page or of the mindset that we need some continuity on the offense. Drew Lock, 1 more year. I'm not saying he's going to be fantastic, but let's not wipe the slate clean quite yet.
Right.
Well, on the other hand, Mr. Red Cloud here is a complete opposite of that. Let us anything but Drew Lock. Let's put a wet sock out there instead of Drew Lock. At this point, look, freaking Aaron Rodgers is it just makes me so happy to even think about that, even though, again, I'm not putting any money on it. So.
Yeah, that would be something. The interesting thing now is what do the Broncos do today?
Yeah.
Let's play the scenario out. Let's say Justin Fields is sitting there at 9 today. I think that we're seeing some interesting. There's some interesting storylines that are emerging right now, particularly if we really are in on the Aaron Rodgers deal. So yeah, I'd be curious to see. And I think if the Aaron Rodgers deal does not go down today, which I would highly be very surprised if it did go down today, and the Broncos take a quarterback at number 9 or wherever, if they take a quarterback at 7, I don't care where they take a quarterback. That tells you everything you need to know about the Aaron Rodgers situation, which we probably got a phone call from the agent that said not happening, right?
Yeah, exactly. So cool. Well, it is past 6 o'clock. We are waiting for the draft to begin. Remember, everyone, each team has 10 minutes for their pick. Be keeping track of it all up here for you on our screen. Jacksonville is up first, followed by the Jets, then the 49ers, followed by the Falcons. So those are the first 4 teams there. Again, based off where they go, I think the first 2 or 3 are very, pretty easily predictable, but once especially we get to the Falcons, they're really going to be the ones that sets the tone for where this draft goes from there on out. So we're going to break that down for you as it gets closer to that point. So we have spent a lot of time already talking about Aaron Rodgers, and there's going to be a whole lot more that comes up about it as the night goes on, and any other possibilities of us trading back or who's on the board, what we're going to do, right? So this Aaron Rodgers stuff set aside, Ray.
Yeah.
Before, let's say 3 hours ago, before this was the thing, what were you kind of walking into this with in the back of your head?
Sure. So let's even go back 24 hours, right? And let's just say pre-Bridgewater. We'll
get to this later, Fidel. Good question.
Yeah. Pre-Bridgewater deal, I think the Broncos were in on the quarterback market for sure. And I think they've narrowed it down to, I think it's Justin Fields or bust at this point in time. Mac Jones makes zero sense. I mean, his floor is slightly higher than I think where some of the other quarterbacks in the league, but his ceiling is just, I mean, you could reach up and touch his ceiling. I think he is just in this pocket window. He is straight up second round draft pick talent, and there's just going to be a little bit of push. Pretty polished guy. Mac Jones was out of the deal. Trey Lance was also off the Broncos' radar. Listen, Trey Lance needs the Atlanta Falcons, right? Trey Lance needs the San Francisco 49ers because he needs to be behind a Jimmy G or a Matt Ryan for a year or two before he does anything. The Broncos weren't drafting Trey Lance in any scenario, I don't think, regardless. So it's Justin Fields. All the rumors right now that Justin Fields would be available around 7, 8, 9. If you would have asked me this question yesterday, K-Dan, I would have said Broncos would have been doing whatever they could do to get to position 6 or 7 to take Fields, without a doubt. Once you see the Bridgewater deal go down, though, that told me that you know what? Actually, they are trying to get a little bit of a veteran presence in the room, trying to build some things up. I still felt that they would take Justin Fields at number 9 if he was there. I mean, I think today, as I'm sitting here right now, if you're going to make me put some money on it, which I've already put some money on the draft list, that's besides the point. If you were going to make me put my finger on it right now, if Justin Fields is sitting there at 9, I think they're taking Justin Fields at that point. I saw some comments, though. So what do we do after that? Or let's say all the quarterbacks are off the board there. At 9, and this is the craziest thing about this draft, we will probably be able to draft any defensive player on the board at that point right there. I don't think a defensive player goes before pick number 9 in this draft where the Broncos are sitting right now. My gut tells me it's an inside linebacker type of guy, Micah Parsons type of body. That's who the Broncos will be targeting at number 9. I saw a comment about the right tackle. Depends. I've seen some mock drafts. I think a couple of tackles go off on the board before number 9. So I don't think we're going to see the number 9 pick. I say if Fields is there right now, we're taking him, or we're taking the best defensive player available.
I like it. So Shadow asks, if we draft Trey Lance or Justin Fields, but Aaron Rodgers wants to come to Denver, what would you do? So if you had a choice, and I think for me, and Shadow, I'm not sure if this is kind of what you meant with this, but when I read this is an interesting point. You have a quarterback kind of similar to Peyton Manning, 4, maybe 5 years left. Definitely Super Bowl contenders, but again, you got to think about in 5 years, we're kind of going to be starting back where we are right now. Or do we go for that young guy that could be the career quarterback where we're not going to have to worry about this for the next 10 plus years? So, yeah, I mean, what do you think? That's a good point.
Gosh, yeah. I don't give a crap. I can't lose to the Raiders twice again this year. I can't lose I can't have not won an AFC West road game, and I can't do it again. I will take whatever it takes to get Aaron Rodgers. Open up that window 3 or 4 years, because the thing that happens when you get a player like Aaron Rodgers is the floodgates open, and you know what happens? People want to play with Aaron Rodgers, and so if they play with Aaron Rodgers, dude, that's when the TJ Wards come out of the workhouse. You know, you get the Talibs and you get the Chris Harris Jr.'s, and you get other pieces that you could potentially continue to build your franchise around and see if you can parlay it into the next quarterback. This is why Aaron Rodgers is pissed. I can't even remember what the guy that Jordan Love, I think, is who they drafted last year. This is why he's freaking pissed. It's because Aaron Rodgers has got 5 years left in him. He just wants pieces to win a freaking championship. And so I think if Aaron Rodgers comes, I don't care what you trade. I don't care if you have to dump the entire quarterback room. I don't care what it is, because other players want to play with that guy. And you can lock up some really solid players for long term that'll be a part of the Broncos franchise for long after Aaron Rodgers is gone.
Gotcha. Okay. Man, it's tough. I'm right there with you, man. But then the other side, the other flip side, and Shadow, this is a great question because now I'm thinking about it, is in 5 short years, do we want to be right back here where we are in that position? And now, new GM,
Right.
We've learned from recent, experiences and hopefully prevent that, right? We have 5 years to build somebody up under Aaron Rodgers if this was the case. And the more I talk about this and the more I'm just like, this isn't going to happen. Sorry, guys, I'm not going to put a cent down on this. I'm not. But the more I talk about it, the more excited about it I get. But, we'd have time to hopefully prevent the situation that we found ourselves in. So, but Red Cloud, I'm surprised you asked this question just because you're so anti Drew Lock, and that's fine. But this is an interesting one. Why not keep Lock under Rodgers if that happens? I would prefer to have Lock under Rodgers than Bridgewater under Waters, and that's me.
Right. Yeah, I mean, Bridgewater's again. He is in the room for one reason and one reason only. It's because we need an adult in the room, right? Yep. That's literally the only reason why Bridgewater's on the team. I think at this point in time, I would be. Let's just take Aaron Rodgers out of it for a second here, and let's say Aaron Rodgers is not a Bronco in 2021, 22. Bridgewater should not even start a game the entire time. Bridgewater is not intended to be here to be starting a single game. It's either going to be Justin Fields, if that's the plan, or it's all about Drew Lock and just trying to get his development going. Unless he gets injured, there's no intention that Bridgewater's going to be starting any games this year. Yeah, not a single one.
Agreed. And I don't want him to. Like, that's just
heck no. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I've seen some people posting on Facebook and stuff. Hey, now compared Lock's numbers to his numbers, and it's an upgrade. Put Teddy in over Lock. I'm like, no, that's not. No.
Well, I think if correct me if I'm wrong here. I might get the stat off a little bit. Hey, yeah, what are you smarty pants in the chat here? Hit me up with this. But I think Bridgewater had 15 touchdown passes last year, and that was his career high. Yeah. So
one every other game. Or one a game.
Listen,
one a game.
Yeah, I have no interest in Bridgewater. Nice guy, great story. I'm glad he's back on the field. Unfortunately, injuries derailed his career. He's a smart guy. Just stick him in the room, have him talk through Drew Lock on some things, and then let's go.
Would you trade Fidel for Aaron Rodgers?
I wouldn't trade Fidel for the world, but I would trade Von Miller. Oh, absolutely.
Von Miller, yes. Von Miller.
Absolutely.
No, we're not trading Fidel.
Fidel, you can stay with us, baby.
You can stay with. Please do.
Oh, absolutely.
My bad. Drew Lock has been training with Peyton Manning, so another reason keep Drew Lock under Aaron Rodgers if that were to happen.
We talked about this a little bit on the Orange Weekly.
Fidel, you're a sport. I'm glad you weren't like, fuck you, I'm out.
We talked about this on the Orange Weekly group chat, which, let's put our tinfoil hat on for a second. Well, no wonder Peyton Manning's working with Drew Lock, because Peyton Manning's going to buy the goddamn Broncos, and he doesn't want to buy a piece of shit quarterback like Drew Lock. That's what's happening. Peyton Manning's like, listen, bro, if I'm stuck with you here in a year, when I'm by the Broncos, at least I'm going to know that I've done everything I can to figure out whether or not you're the quarterback of the future. And what better way than just try to coach him up himself?
Yeah. Hey, everyone, remember, we're going to be here through the entirety of the draft. I think we're already having a great time. I'm seeing some good conversations in the chat, both with us and amongst each other. That's fantastic. Hit that share button for us, everyone. We're going to also do a post-draft show next Tuesday, 7 p.m. Mountain Time, Bourbon Broncos No BS, which is our flagship show during the season. Every Tuesday night we do that, and a bunch of other stuff. We have a ton of content during the season. Also, make sure you check out our post-draft podcast. That'll be coming out next week as well, and some other stuff throughout the offseason. So we've got a lot of stuff coming your way heading into our 6th season here as Orange Weekly for y'all.
Yeah, baby.
It's going to be fantastic. And you know what, Ray, while we have a second, a new edition that we had this last year for anyone who's sports betting fans, fill us in on Ragers, man.
Yeah, man. So we go with the Ragers. I saw a comment in the chat real quick. I just want to make sure that this isn't something crazy happening. Okay, so Mike Kliss just tweeted a couple of minutes ago that there are various reports out there. I'm told that the Broncos are not in talks with Green Bay. Okay, so that's just, I saw somebody say Aaron Rodgers, let's go. So I just want to make sure we didn't miss anything super crazy that happened. But yeah, hey, listen, you guys, Orange Weekly, we got you covered top to bottom, left to right. However you like your Broncos news, we got you. If you like your podcast, your pregame, your postgame, you like reaction shows, you like live interactive shows like this, that's certainly that we love to do that. One of the other elements that we started to do it's been a couple years actually now, but now that sports betting is basically legal anywhere that you go in the entire country, I'm a big avid sports bettor. I've been sports betting for 10 plus years now. And so the Ragers show is all about sports betting and fantasy football, but with the Broncos spin. And, you hear some people say, oh, don't ever bet on your favorite football team or your favorite team because you bet with your heart and not with your head and blah, blah, blah. One of the things that I've learned is I know so much about the Broncos. We follow the Broncos. We consume the content here so much, man. We have such a good grasp of what's going on with the Broncos that I actually love betting on my favorite team or the team that I'm following because I have a good grasp of what's happening. And so in the Ragers show, we talk about, fantasy projections. Is Noah Fant going to go over under 46 receiving yards? We look at some trends. We look at cornerback wide receiver matchups. And you know what? I'm pretty damn good at it. So I've been over 60% 2 seasons in a row when it comes to Broncos content. And
so you're making money. You're making money. And that's a cool thing. And for those, that's a good distinction that you made right there. It's not just, I'm going to pick the Broncos to win every week because I love the Broncos. If you guys listen to the Ragers podcast, make sure you follow them on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, anywhere that your favorite Orange Weekly podcast is at. Ragers is also there. So make sure you go follow him, that podcast as well. But the breakdown, it's almost like a pregame, different mentality pregame episode because you're breaking down what the lines are, what you expect to happen, and why you're picking certain lines and why you're not picking other lines. And so it's not just, I love Noah Fant. He's my favorite player on this roster right now. I'm going to pick that he goes over on these numbers every week. So it's really smart. And like you said, you're making money, dude. I'm going to go into this next season and I'm going to have $500 and I'm just going to give it to you. And I'm going to say whatever bets you make, for me and just roll in that. It's kind of like an investment and I trust
it's like I'm basically Bitcoin at this point, so
Bitcoin.
But for this but K-Dan brings up an important point, man. Sports betting for me is all about just having a good time, and it's making things interesting, and so it's like entertainment value for me. So of course, want to make sure that you're betting fiscally responsibly and all those good things, but man, Thursday night, shitty Thursday night game, and you got $20 on a player to score, and it's that $20 of entertainment is equal to just me watching a movie or some other stupid crap. So I view it very much as entertainment. We have a good time on the show. We drink a lot of beer, and we have a great time talking about those things. And we all know what's happening with Jacksonville right now.
Yep,
they literally can't screw this up.
Exactly. Jacksonville is on the clock. Of course, they're going to take their full 10 minutes just to see what calls they get and whatnot, even though it's not going to happen. So Jacksonville Jaguars are on the clock. The 2021 NFL Draft is underway. Thanks for joining us here tonight, guys, on the Orange Weekly live draft show. Hopefully, so Jared is now saying that his internet is down. Which is his new reason for why he's not joining the show. Matt has said that his computer had a restart about 30 minutes ago, which is why he is not here. But that's okay because we have you, the fans, watching with us, and this is fantastic. So, and Ray and I are holding it down pretty well with all of you. So, if they don't join us, then
who cares?
Who cares? By prodding them like this, hopefully it'll make them join us sooner and whatnot. But once again, we will be here. At least I will be here for whenever the Broncos make their first pick, either tonight or maybe it'll be tomorrow. Straight out, we'll see. Okay. I like this, Fidel. I think the NFL Network should get someone from Orange Weekly to challenge Rick Eisen to a 40-yard dash. You know what? I'm going to tap out on that one, Ray. I nominate you.
I nominate Jared. I'm passing it on to Jared.
Okay.
Listen, Jared's still active duty. I know he's still got to be in tip-top shape. I'm passing it to him. Hey, first pick. This is a no-brainer. I mean, everybody's talking about. They're showing the pictures right now. They're comparing him to the most polished quarterback, Trevor Lawrence. They're showing Peyton Manning, John Elway, and Andrew Luck. I mean, this is a no-brainer right here. I think this is a great move for the Jacksonville organization. You get Urban Meyer in the mix. Who knows what the hell is going to go on over there in Jacksonville? And they were relevant 2 years ago, and now they're. I mean, last year I think they were 1-15 or something so ridiculous. But I'm all in. Trevor Lawrence seems like a good, cool, down-to-earth dude. I think the community of Jacksonville just donated a whole bunch of money to his charity foundation. I mean, it seems like there's going to be a good match there.
Yeah,
this is an organizational changing move right here for the Jacksonville Jaguars, without a doubt.
Exactly. So it'll be interesting to see what this team does. With that talent there under center.
Yeah.
Interesting stat there. Yeah. First time Jacksonville's had the first overall pick. Another interesting stat. Broncos have never held the number 1 overall pick we've had the number 2. Thank you, Von Miller. Never had the number 1 overall. So just a little bit of a NFL Broncos trivia for you.
There you go. Mm-hmm.
Yes, Steve, we did talk about this earlier. Tebow did try out for Jacksonville's tight end.
Yes.
That was quickly overshadowed by the Aaron Rodgers news. That was, rumors that were coming out right about 10 minutes after all that started. So, but good stuff.
Yeah.
Man. Good stuff.
Yeah, sunshine, baby. Can you believe it, man? Remember the Titans has come back full circle. We got sunshine going to first round of draft pick this year, man. It's unbelievable. Hey, interesting stat though, and this is a line that I targeted today. The over-under on offensive players being drafted in this year's NFL draft in the first round was 18.5. And 3 times in history, there's been 19. 19 has been the top number that we've seen offensive players drafted in the very first round. This year, I think we're going to see 20 offensive players drafted this year in the first round between the 4 or 5 wide receivers that are going to go off the board, the 5 quarterbacks. We're going to get 4 or 5 offensive linemen. We're going to get, of course, the tight end, Pitts. It's going to be, we're going to get at least 1 or 2 running backs. We're going to be right there at the number 19. Never in history has there been 20 offensive players drafted in the first round of the NFL draft.
That's crazy.
It's crazy.
That's crazy.
So,
yep. Here's a good one. Steven asked, why use the whole 10 minutes? And, my thought process has always been, hey, we're in no rush. We know who we want, but we'll see if anybody's going to make a call and say, hey, I want to give you the next 5 years worth of first round picks for this. And then we can discuss, okay, is this worth it or not? And so it's more just waiting to see it, who's calling, let's test the waters. Is there anyone out there that's maybe making some last minute desperate attempts, to trade up?
They got to iron the name on this shirt.
Yeah, that too.
Lawrence,
That too. 5 minutes left until their pick ends. And so
Steve, I totally agree though. What are we doing right now? Let's go to number 3. All we care about the 49ers right now. That's the only place that we're going to see any drama. But
exactly.
Hey, 10, 15 minutes of fame. Jacksonville hasn't had 15 minutes in 10 years. So you guys eat it up here, Jacksonville.
For the hell, we should go with Ryan Leaf. There you go. Yes. You know what? If I had to draft somebody in the first round, I'd draft Fidel.
Fidel is destroying it today.
Let's see here. Okay, how about this? Speaking of betting, what would you bet that there's going to be no running backs in the first round?
I took a bet today that there would be at least 2 running backs drafted in the first round. We get Najee Harris, I believe, is that the Alabama running back. I think he's going to go 23, 24. I think to St. Louis, to the Steelers, maybe somewhere in that range. And then there's Travis Etienne. I think he's going to be drafted in the first round as well. Another one of my big plays today. I'm going to take 2 running backs drafted in the first round. I think we're going to see 2 of them in the first round today. Najee and Etienne, or whatever that other guy's name is.
Right.
Okay. Yep. I'm all in on 2 running backs today.
Hey, everyone, hit that share button. Remember that we're going to be live throughout this whole thing. My name's Kev Dan. I am with Ray. And, we're going to be here through the Broncos pick. We'll see what happens. Obviously, Jason, our other Orange Weekly host of Orange Weekly After Dark, I haven't heard anything about Aaron Rodgers. Honestly, I don't even know who that is. Is he like a tight end in the draft or something? Oh, make sure you check out his show during the season, Orange Weekly After Dark on Monday nights. And of course, as we get closer to the season, you'll hear all about that. But we are stoked here for the season to start. So we are 6th year here at Orange Weekly. So we are ready to bring you guys some fantastic content. Steve, how about our screw up taking Tommy Maddox in the first round? You know, it's always a good time of year to look back at all the mistakes we've made through the years, and it's one of those things. It's like you know, some people are out there like, oh, we could have gotten this player, that player. Like, to me, to some degree in the draft, it's kind of like a crapshoot. You don't.
Oh,
know.
totally.
You know, you could be just one of the best players in college football, and then go to the NFL and be average, maybe a little bit more than average, and never go past that. You know, so you know,
Reggie Bush,
yeah. So it's kind of like a gamble, you know?
And what we talked about earlier, Steve, is I think what I don't know what the stat is. Make up the year 2015 or 2016. Every first round quarterback that's been drafted since 2015, with the exception of this last draft class, I think there's like I know what it is. It's like from like 2012 to 2016 or 2000. Like none of those first round quarterbacks are with their same team. I mean, it really is that big of a crapshoot. I mean, it really is. And it's interesting. We're going to see 5 go off the board here in the first round today. Mm-hmm. How many of them are relevant in 2 or 3 years from now? I mean, that's a really interesting question. I mean, look at Sam Darnold. I mean, look at those types of names. And who the hell did, they drafted Arizona Cardinals. They drafted Sam Darnold, didn't they? Or am I making it up? Who did they draft? And then they take Kyler Murray the following year as the first overall pick. I mean, it's just literally a crapshoot at this point in time. So it's interesting. I think Trevor Lawrence is certainly a slam dunk. And I'll be honest, I think Trey Lance is probably the next best quarterback in that class if he finds the right situation. You know, if Atlanta or San Francisco get a hold of him, I think he's going to be the next best quarterback in that draft.
Yeah. The pick is in. We are waiting to hear where they're going to go with their pick, and I think we have a pretty good idea. But up next is going to be the New York Jets. They are going to be on the clock next. So we're going to wait to hear and see what happens there. Glad you're all here with us tonight. Seriously, some fantastic stuff. Make sure you're following us on YouTube as well as Instagram and Twitter as well. We did have a post-draft podcast or a pre-draft podcast with Benjamin Albright. Obviously, it'll be a little bit of an old news here before too long. But remember that we are going to have a post-draft podcast next week and a post-draft Bourbon Broncos No BS show on Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Mountain Time as well. So, and that'll kind of hold us over until we get close to the start of preseason, which will actually be here before you know it. So keep posting your comments, keep posting your questions. Want to hear what your thoughts are. Maybe if it's even something not in the draft, but just kind of want to hear your thoughts about the Broncos in general.
And you don't get this anywhere else. You tell me a live show somewhere that you get to be in charge of the show. You name it right now. I'll wait. You want to call it on the radio? You're caller 15 and they ain't even going to get to you, man. This is the show. You post your comments in there. We'll talk about whatever the hell you want to talk about. Post something and then we'll talk about whatever it is. So
that breaking news, of course, not so much surprise. Trevor Lawrence is the number 1 pick in the 2021 NFL draft.
Hall of Famer.
Hall of Famer. There you go. It's solidified there.
Oh, goodness.
On the clock, we have New York Jets. I'm sorry, I misspoke just a second ago. New York Jets on the clock. Okay, so no surprise there. We've talked about what we're expecting from the Jacksonville Jaguars there. What are you thinking from the Jets up next?
It's all about the BYU kid. It's going to be the highest drafted BYU player in NFL history. The kid's got unbelievable arm talent. I think it's a safe pick here. We're going to see the second quarterback come off the board right here, right now. No questions.
Yeah, that's again something that everybody has been talking about. So, not surprised. The number 3 and number 4 picks are going to be the big ones, to be honest with you. Atlanta especially. Again, I think even the 49ers, there's a little bit of a question on which way they'll go. But again, Falcons. Now, what do you make of this news of them possibly wanting, Julio Jones being on the trading block?
Well, I think if you look at the numbers, I think the Falcons have the second I'm going to mess this up. They have the second to last amount of money available. The second to least. The least amount, but not the least amount, but the second least amount. Which one of these is? Dan, help me out here, man.
The second least, I believe. The
second least amount of money available in their cap. So I think they are 31 out of 32 as far as cap space goes. And I think that's part of the conversation about Julio Jones. They don't have enough money to even sign the mandatory or the minimum mandatory for their rookie class. I think Julio Jones has got like $18 million or something insane tied up this year. It might even be closer to $20 million this next year.
Third.
It's interesting.
They're number 30 out of 32.
Third. Okay. So so they basically have no money. They have like, I think it's, if I saw correctly, it's like less than $1 million or like right around $2 million in cap space. And they need, I think, a minimum of $5 or $6 million to even sign the rookie class. And so it's an interesting conversation because here's the issue is that they have, I think, $106 million guaranteed to Matt Ryan for the next 3 years. So listen, Matt Ryan ain't going nowhere. I mean, he is going to be the quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons. The only way that the Atlanta Falcons do something crazy is if Trey Lance is on the board at number 4. I think the Atlanta Falcons will take Trey Lance because they know they're getting close to the end of Matt Ryan's career. Trey Lance needs that 2 or 3 years, that Aaron Rodgers sort of treatment. I see that happening. If they don't, I think the no-brainer is that Kyle Pitts play, tight end out of Florida, who is people are also saying is a generational type of talent. And I mean, as you've seen the explosion of tight end play in the NFL, tight ends, a tight end 1 is probably just as valuable, if not more valuable than a wide receiver 1 at this point.
Yeah. No, that's an interesting point. It really is. Jason, again, from the Orange Weekly crew here. How would you rank Mr. Raymond there, our facial hair here at Orange Weekly? You're not going to hurt my feelings. It's okay.
We got a pretty good group of facial hair, man.
Yeah. Just like in our trivia shows that we do during the off season, Jared is probably last, and I am right above that. I'm not last, but that's okay. I'm not last. So
sure. I love it.
But yes, Shadow. If we land Ron, Denver versus Tampa. Man,
ooh, I like it.
Be a Super Bowl, right?
I will say this. I think football is the ultimate team sport. I don't think there's any doubt about that football is the ultimate team sport. There have been 2 players, and I can ever remember in NFL history that if they're on your roster, you have a legitimate chance to win a Super Bowl. Like it, regardless of whatever. And I'll give you the perfect analogy. In the NBA, if you have LeBron, you have a legitimate chance to win it every single year. There are 2 players I could ever think of in NFL history, and that is Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes. And I hate to say it in his 3rd year, but if you have either one of those 2 dudes on your team, you have a legitimate chance of being in the Super Bowl each and every year. It doesn't even matter what is around you. I mean, I think Tom Brady's proved it so many times, and I think Patrick Mahomes is that special. Yeah. So the challenge is we got Mahomes is in our division. So I love the idea. I think Aaron Rodgers puts us right on par. If we have the 6th best roster, I think we're going to have one of the top 5 defenses, without a doubt. We have the youngest offense in NFL history, or in the entire NFL last year. We have some great pieces. I think if Aaron Rodgers is here for the next 5 years, the Broncos are winning another Super Bowl. I mean, there's just no doubt about it.
Speaking of, so first off, Erica, how you doing? Glad you're here. Thanks for watching the show. Broncos currently are at the number 9 pick tonight. Of course, once we get there, we're going to see who's on the board. We're going to see who's making calls, what kind of trades are out there, and if they trade down. It's going to be interesting. So the pick is in for the New York Jets. But from Ian Rappaport just now, an update on the Packers that's not really an update. Green Bay hasn't engaged at all, despite a few teams calling about trading for Aaron Rodgers. The Packers have no plans to trade for him, so nothing has changed. That's from Ian Rappaport right now. So we will see. But the pick is in, and we're going to see the 49ers on the clock next.
This is where things get fun.
Yep. We start deviating from these are 4 sure picks at the number 1, number 2. Now it's, now they could go a couple different directions. And then based off of that, you have that waterfall effect. So we're sitting here right now saying, hey, the Broncos have a number of options, but are they even going to be there at the number 9 pick? And if they are, if there's no one there, what are they going to do? Are they going to pick the next best player available based off their needs? Are they going to trade down? Are they going to trade out of the first round? What are they going to do? So,
and And Vegas gets this shit pretty good every year. 2 weeks ago, it was Justin Fields was the conversation. It was either Mac Jones or Justin Fields. Trey Lance wasn't even in the conversation right now. Today, Trey Lance looks like that number one that seems to be the favorite for the 49ers. I wouldn't put it past the 49ers to draft Justin Fields at this point in time. I don't know what they're going to do with Mac Jones. Listen. Who the fuck's going to draft Mac Jones in the first round? I mean, let's be serious here just for a second. Who is going to draft Mac Jones? He is not a first-round talent. Anyways, that's my soapbox for a second. I think they take Trey Lance. I think that's the play right here. I think that's the best play. If they don't take Trey Lance, that's when the chaos ensues. I think that's when we're going to see some really craziness happen if they don't take Trey Lance.
There you go. Well, we're going to see here soon. But, of course, breaking news. Orange alert, if you will. Zach Wilson, quarterback from BYU, is the number 2 overall selection heading up to the New York Jets. Next on the clock, we have the 49ers, and we are trucking along here in the NFL 2021 draft. And again, thanks for joining us here tonight. Hit that share button for us. Tell all your friends that we are doing this so you don't have to listen to the NFL Network people because they're not Broncos fans. We'd rather talk to you about all the Broncos side of the specific stuff. So once again, I just read it out, a tweet from Ian Rappaport. Basically, despite all the rumors and all the hype that's been happening the last 3-4 hours, the Packers have not engaged in anyone with trading Aaron Rodgers, even though they've had some calls. And again, so yes, the Broncos have called. I would bet a ton of money on that, but it sounds like they have not even considered the possibility of that. So again, all of these are rumors. They're on all sides of the spectrum, all the extremes. Whether from it's definitely happening to there's no way in hell it's happening, and that's kind of where we're at right now. So we have 7 more picks to go before we find out kind of where we're at.
Good. Hopefully you got a cooler full of beer and we're ready to rock. Maybe we'll be with you all day long. I'm just trying to check a few things here.
Yeah, go for it. Got some more comments here. And again, thanks for everyone for joining in. I appreciate all of you. Jamar Chase, LSU to the Broncos. Okay. Just speaking into existence. I like it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think Jamar Chase, he's going to go off. My guess is pick 5 or 6. So I think Jamar Chase will be out of there. Generational talent again. I think we're well established in that room, and I think we're going to be good to go. But generational type of talent, I would bet that. I think I'm seeing Jamar Chase projected right now at pick number 6. So I think we'll see him right there, 5 or 6 today.
And Keith, good point. People thought we wouldn't get Peyton Manning. The thing there was Peyton Manning was definitely going to be let go. They weren't going to re-sign Peyton Manning to another contract. So that's the difference here of, that was known. Like teams were actively talking to Peyton Manning in the offseason. We knew he was going to pick another team. Another team was going to sign him. It was who? This situation is there's all these rumors that Aaron Rodgers doesn't want to come back and that he's unhappy and that the front office is just going to trade him. And therefore, that's where there's this extra ambiguity. And for me, I'm just thinking it's not going to happen. Doesn't mean that, it won't happen tonight. It might happen later if it's an actual situation that's happening behind those doors there. So,
and again, I think the interesting tell for us, if you will, the show of hand right now will be what the Broncos do, particularly if like a Justin Fields is sitting on the board at 7, 8, 9 in those plays. If Broncos just sit put or trade back, I think that tells you that the Broncos feel like they have a pretty good shot of landing Aaron Rodgers. If the Broncos make a move today, I think that tells you that the Broncos don't feel like they have a really good chance of landing Aaron Rodgers.
Yep.
That's simple.
Yep. Awesome. Okay, 49ers are on the clock still. We are waiting to see what their pick is.
This is going to be fun.
Quarterback, safety, edge, offensive line. Again, we kind of talked about it a little bit ago, but what are you thinking there, Ray? If you're in their war room right now, you're listening for trade offers, but have you made a decision? Or you got a couple minutes left?
They're in. There's no doubt about it. You don't make that. You don't make that move to number 3 unless you know that you're taking a quarterback at that point in time. And I don't think you make the move to number 3 unless you know which one of the 3 that you are going to take.
I forgot that they traded into that spot. You're right.
They traded. So they traded into that spot with Miami, I believe, if I'm regurgitating this correctly. And then I think Miami jumped back into the top 10. But you don't make that move into that top 3 position with the intention of taking a quarterback. I think there was probably a little bit of dotting the I's and T's. I think the question is what are they going to do with Jimmy G? So if they take a Mac Jones or a Fields, that tells you that Jimmy G's on the trading block. He's on the way out. He will not be starting a game this year. But if they take Trey Lance, that tells you that they're playing the slow play. That's my gut. I think that they like Jimmy G enough to keep him around for another year. It'll be interesting to see what happens. I think they're taking Justin Fields. That's where I put my money on right now. Quarterback, no doubt. We'll see what happens.
I like it. I like it. Okay. Yeah, Jason, again, if you guys aren't familiar with our show lineup, we have a ton of content for you guys during the season. Jason is one of our hosts of the Monday Night Orange Weekly After Dark show. He says, I think the deadline for Rodgers is pick 9. If we make the deal, this year's first pick has to be included. Agreed. And so, yeah, if we make the pick and we get somebody, in the draft, then the Aaron Rodgers thing is basically dead. I think there's obviously going to be still a whole lot of talk about it on Twitter for the coming days, and weeks, and social media in general. But at that point, that essentially nullifies it. Unless we go back to that situation like we were in with Peyton Manning, where he was actively shopping around and talking to other teams. That's a different conversation to be had. But after that pick is in, if there's no trade, then the Aaron Rodgers thing is dead. And it was a very fun, exciting 4 or 5 hours to think about, but then it's gone.
It's interesting to think about the timing of this, right? There's always some crazy timing of shit that happens during the draft, right? You got the offensive lineman, is it Okun or whoever it was, smoking out of his bong mask, and next thing you know, he slides in the draft. I think did Aaron Rodgers notify the Packers today? I'm hard pressed to believe that was the case. If he's been upset, I'm not exactly sure how the news break there, Jason. But I agree. Listen, I've already said it twice. I'll say it 3 times. I'm Ricky Williaming this draft and the next draft. I'm giving the Broncos, you Packers, you can have every Bronco pick for this draft and the next one. We'll take Aaron Rodgers. See you later. See you at the cashier. We're winning the Super Bowl in the next 5 years.
That would be phenomenal.
Done.
Believe me.
Done.
Especially now that I have season tickets. I'm just saying that would be great. So, okay, the pick is in number 3.
Ooh, this is the one that intrigues me the most of this entire draft.
Okay, so we'll see what they're going to do. But of course, next up on the board is going to be the Falcons, and here we are. This is where it sets the tone, man. It sets the tone.
This is where shit hits the fan right here.
So let's start talking about that a little bit while we wait to hear what the 49ers pick. Falcons are looking for a tight end, cornerback, edge, quarterback, like you talked about with the cap space situation. So you're in the war room, man. What are you thinking?
I think if Trey Lance is not on the board, because I think Trey Lance could be a generational talent that just needs a few years to incubate, right? He's only got 1 year of starts at North Dakota State, plus the exhibition game that happened this year. I think their thought process is we have a 3-year window with Matt Ryan. They were in the ship a couple of years ago, right after they blew it, and so I think they feel like they have enough talent. I think if Trey Lance comes off the board right now, I think they're looking at Kyle Pitts. I think everybody's arguing that he's a generational talent. If the Falcons had a little bit, what was his name? Gonzalez. I mean, the Gonzalez played for the Falcons. They have a history of really good tight ends. I see Goodell come into the thing. This is an interesting pick to me. Here we go. The selection's coming live right now.
Yes, it is. Oh, shoot. I don't have my volume on. Boo.
I don't either. I got to wait to,
Ooh, are we not? Oh, sorry. Okay.
Who do they take? Trey Lance. There it is.
There it is.
Could have told you that was coming. So,
yep.
So then I think, so here's what happens now. I think the next 2 picks are completely vanilla. And then I think shit hits the fan again here at pick number 6. And so I think we're going to see, Atlanta take the best offensive weapon that's on the board, which is Kyle Pitts. There's no doubt about it. I think this is an interesting one. I think I see a lot of people talking about the Bills or the Bengals. I think the Bengals take the best offensive lineman on the board, which is, I can't think of the guy's name. Penei Sewell, or is that right? Or no, that's the linebacker. What the hell? What's his name? Hold on a second. I'll find it. What's the old lineman that everybody's freaking out about?
Oh,
great tackle.
Parsons.
Micah Parsons. No, not Parsons. The linebacker. He's a linebacker too.
Yeah.
Slater. They're gonna just take Slater will come off the board at that point in time. That's my guess right there. at number 6. So,
you try to trade up with Miami? Not that I don't think they would give up the spot since they trade into number 6, but how bad do you want the guy?
No, it's sold. Thank you. Thanks, Steve.
Boom. Yep. Awesome. Steve's got our back. Steve's got our back.
He's going to go off the board to the Bengals. They got to keep Burrow. They got to keep Burrow upright. So that's no problem. I think that's exactly what happens there. Trey Lance.
There he is.
I don't know if anybody on the Orange Weekly chat saw that yesterday. I put this out to the chat group. Plus 370, Trey Lance, third pick overall. Don't want to brag or nothing.
Nice.
That was yesterday.
That was yesterday. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I told the guys on the chat. I told you guys on the chat about it. So.
I'm serious. I'm just going to give you some money to start the season, and you whatever bets you make, just put me in on that. Equal ratios from what you're doing, and let it ride. Just let it ride.
Yep. So I see Kyle Pitts, the number one offensive weapon on the board, comes off right now. I mean, they have a couple of wide receiver options, certainly Jamar Chase and a couple of the other guys, but I think everybody's saying Kyle Pitts is the number one tight end. And I've said this a couple of times, tight end number one, I think is as equal, if not more valuable than a wide receiver number one in this league right now.
Yep. Jason's comment here. It's me thinking why it broke when it did. I don't know. There's a lot of interesting things. This Green Bay thing is going to stay. There was a comment from the Green Bay front office that they just scrolled across the bottom of the screen here, essentially saying we look forward to attempting to win more championships with Aaron Rodgers. So somebody's throwing some smoke screen down somewhere. I'm going to err on the side of this is somebody sneezed and somebody else misinterpreted that as Aaron Rodgers wants to go to the Broncos.
Right. And so let's unpack this though for a second here. So that means we got two quarterbacks left on the board, right? And I think we've heard New England and Mac Jones so often together, right? That's what we've heard so often. So let's just play the game out. If New England trades up to get Mac Jones, which is great, they might trade into 7, let's say. And Justin Fields is on the board at 9. What do the Broncos do?
Trade down.
You think they trade down? So I think that becomes really interesting. Without knowing about the Aaron Rodgers situation, my gut tells me at number 9. Here, let me put it this way: at number 9, a quarterback will be drafted at position number 9. Let me go check. I'll check what the live bet odds are on that.
Check it. I want to know. Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things. Like, okay, well, if our tackle is there, get the tackle, but then there's also, and that's part of this, is we haven't really touched on this yet. At least I know I haven't said anything about it. New GM, we don't really understand what's going on in Payton's mind. I mean, not that we ever really will, but we don't have a history of understanding his picks, right? And his mindset when it comes to the draft. So he has said that he is a man who will build a team through the draft. And so you're talking about accumulating draft picks. You're talking about thinking about 2, 3, 4 years down the road, not just looking, hey, who's out there on free agency? Let's sign them to big contracts and use that, right?
Oh, so, couple of great comments coming in here on that, just on that awesome. Very idea. But yeah, I totally agree.
So do you trade down to get some better draft capital for either this year or next year? Or do you take a right tackle?
I don't see them taking an offensive lineman. I know that sounds crazy. I just don't see it happening right now. Particularly
right there with you.
Yep. And I think you could argue your way into that. The Broncos probably have a top 10 offensive line right now. And Keith, I think you're right on. I think Julio Jones is gone. I think they take Kyle Pitts right here.
Yep. Agreed. But yeah, so I mean, based on how these picks go, I would not be surprised to see us trade down. And again, if we trade down, we're going to be here for a while. And I'm okay with that. I love this.
Yeah.
I'm not going anywhere.
This is good stuff.
I will say, I hope I'm not live all overnight. No, people are going to be watching me sleep or stuff. I will find a way to make myself stay awake. They did joke about that on the pre-draft podcast. That, people would, we'd stay live. I'd be the one in charge of it. And, you'd have to watch me sleep and stuff. It's kind of weird. No, I'll just hype myself up on any kind of caffeine or anything I can find.
Right.
And we'll figure it out. It won't be pretty by the time we pick tomorrow, but the pick is in as we wait to hear what the Falcons have selected.
And I'll be right back. Out of beer.
Oh, yeah. So you guys are stuck with me right now, and that's perfectly fine. But again, the pick is in as we wait to hear what the Falcons select as we move forward into the Cincinnati pick at number 5. Broncos are picking at number 9. Excuse me. So far, we have Trevor Lawrence, quarterback from Clemson, going to the Jaguars. Zach Wilson, quarterback from BYU, going to the Jets, and then number 3, Trey Lance, quarterback, going to the San Francisco 49ers. So 3 picks, 3 quarterbacks, and here we are at the Atlanta Falcons, expecting Kyle Pitts to be picked in this spot here. So want to hear from all of you. Again, welcome to the Orange Weekly live draft show. If you haven't joined us here before, glad you're here. My name's Kev Dan. We got a great host of content for you guys going into the 6th year of Orange Weekly, a ton of podcasts, live shows, articles on our website. You can check that out, BroncosOrangeWeekly.com. You can find the latest episode of our podcast, latest episode of our live show there, articles. You can see an About Us section on there as well, so you can figure out who we are a little bit better. But yeah, so here we go. Pitts is going to be the pick. I am fairly certain of it. But again, Cincinnati now is on the clock. Okay, Shadow, let's see. On paper, Denver's roster gives me the sugar diabetes. There you go. And Ray was talking about this a little bit ago, who is back now. Ray was talking about how Pro Football Focus ranked us as the 6th best roster in the league, which you're right, 6th. It's pretty awesome, and you think about it, you're right. You make some key adjustments there. You get somebody at quarterback, and look, you give Drew Lock an honest shot here, an actual more realistic offseason. He's had essentially a full season under his belt minus those 3 or 4 games that he missed. Right. Kyle Pitts, breaking orange alert, if you will. Kyle Pitts is selected going over to the Falcons. But yeah, so give this guy a chance. If he works out, great. If not, we can move on, but we still have a young roster intact we can build on.
Yeah, and the interesting thing, about the Drew Lock thing is let's rewind to last year. What do we know about the 2021 NFL season? The most prolific offensive season in NFL history. There was not a better offensive year in the NFL and NFL history. And in that year, Drew Lock took a step back. So I think the panic button got pushed a little bit as Broncos. For sure. It's Bronco country. Like, oh shit, what the hell happened? New coaching staff, new things. Listen, nobody is writing Drew Lock off. But Deshaun Watson, Matt Stafford, Aaron Rodgers, you take the pick. Those are upgrades over Drew Lock. And I think that's where things are starting to kind of swing back and forth here. Bengals on the clock here. Listen, I'm not saying I'm 4 for 4, but I'm 4 for 4 right now. A lot of people pointing wide receiver. I don't think they take a wide receiver right here. I think they take the number 1 offensive lineman right here.
You think so?
I think they do, because I think if you think about Joe Burrow, what's happening with Burrow, man? We got to keep him upright. We got to keep him safe. I think they take Burrow right here.
Okay. So if they went instead of going for Jamar Chase, what would them going with? Okay, let's say they go with Sewell. If I'm saying that right. What does that mean for the Broncos? And then alternatively, what if they go with Chase? What does that mean for the Broncos?
Yeah, I think in either situation, so let's if they go O lineman, I think that definitely solidifies the fact that the Broncos at 9 they'll be able to take any defensive player that they want to, because I don't think a defensive player will go before then. Because I think what we're going to see after this at 5, at 6, we're going to probably see wide receiver with the Miami Dolphins. We got number 7. My gut tells me right now either the Broncos or New England are going to trade into number 7 to pick the quarterback that they want to. And at number 8, I'm gonna make it up. I don't know who the fuck's at number 8, but I think it's another wide receiver that's gonna go off the board. If you don't mind, K-Dan, who's at number 8?
Let's see. Number 8, we're gonna be looking at the Panthers.
Oh, so Panthers. So yeah, they're going O lineman or wide receiver at that point in time. I don't think the Panthers take a quarterback at this point, but they possibly.
You got the Lions at number 7 looking for a wide receiver because they have nobody.
Right, they have nobody. So I mean, we're talking a couple of wide receivers here going off. If the O lineman goes off now, Broncos sit there at number 9. they're going to draft either the first defensive player, they're going to take the quarterback Trey Lance, or I'm sorry, Justin Fields if he's still sitting there, or they're getting out of that pick at that point.
Would you have a preference?
Dude, inside linebacker all day. Micah Parsons, I will take that pick in a bag of potato chips. That dude is a bad mamma jamma. And we've talked about this to exhaustion on the Orange Weekly podcast and Orange Weekly shows. We can't fucking guard a wide receiver, or I'm sorry, a tight end or running back for the life of us. Dude, a sideline to sideline, 3-down linebacker just would be a game changer in this defense. It will take this defense from 5th, 6th, 7th defense in the league to the number 1 defense in the league this next year. We need an inside backer that we can plug and play for the next 10 years. We have such a great history of great inside backers, you know, for the Al Wilsons and the John Mobleys of the world. We got the coach for it. We got a defensive minded coach. I think it's a defensive player. I don't think it's cornerback. I think it's linebacker there. And if they want a cornerback, then trade back to 15 and get your cornerback.
There you go. Jason says Packers front office supposedly saying that they are calling Rodgers bluff and will not trade him at all tonight, if at all. This is the by far most likely situation. I cannot see them trading. I cannot see Rodgers sitting out. You know, Watson is young enough and dumb enough that he can sit out and, you know, for a year and still recover his career, right? Aaron Rodgers isn't. He knows he has a number of years left to go get one more ring at least. So look, if I'm the Packers, I'm also going to call his bluff. Like, okay, you may not be happy right now, but what are you going to do? Are you really going to sit out a year? Because what is sitting out a year going to do for you? You know, you have 4, maybe 5 years left. Are you really going to risk that? So, you know, and you already have a fantastic team built well around you. Are you going to risk going somewhere else, spending a year probably getting, you know, maybe not a year, but, you know, it's going to take a little bit of time to adjust to the new team, the new coaching staff, the new playbook. So there's a lot of things there. So I think the Packers are going to call his bluff if that's actually what's happening. Basically, bottom line, if Aaron Rodgers is unhappy, okay, man. Well, we're your only option because we're not letting you go.
Hey, man, get Keith in there, man. I see Keith got a couple of – Keith and I are sharing the same brain tonight. I think Keith and I are on the exact same page.
I love it.
Talking
and
about
I do
shopping.
Appreciate Steve. Steve, I appreciate you backing us up, man. I really do. Yeah. It's fantastic.
You know, appreciate you, Keith, on sharing those things. I think Bengals offensive tackle is the right play here to get Burrow some support. The pick is in. We'll see here in a second. I mean, there's certainly some eye candy on the board here. A couple of wide receivers that are going to go in the top 10. But wide receivers – I don't think they have quite the same value as an offensive line. And I think anytime you can solidify that offensive line and have a top 5 offensive line in the league, you're going to be fine on the wide receiver side of the house. So I think they go offensive tackle here. That's my guess. But what the hell do I know?
More than I do. The pick is in, though. Now we are coming up to the Dolphins, who did trade back into this spot. They do
wide
have
receiver, no questions. Yep.
Yeah. That one. So okay,
there's no questions at 6.
Up to this point, is this kind of what you expected this draft to go?
Yeah, I think so personally. I think at number 3 was really the deciding factor for the entire draft is what San Francisco was going to do there. I think they took the long play by going with Trey Lance. No surprise there. He's got probably the highest ceiling of anybody in this draft, with the exception of Trevor Lawrence. I think the guy he's Mahomes-esque, he's Cam Newton-esque. The good version of Cam Newton until he met Vonster in the Super Bowl, and then he just shit his pants and he hasn't been able to recover since then. But that's besides the point. So I think he's got tremendous upside at this point in time. So I think everything's been according to what I thought it was going to go like. So I suppose I don't think that makes me smarter than anybody, but I think if you follow the logic here, let's see what the Bengals do here. If they go wide receiver, that might change things up a little bit. I think they go offensive tackle. Number 6, wide receiver. You don't even have to think about it. Miami's definitely taking a wide receiver. And then 7 is where things get interesting. Do the Broncos trade into 7? Do the New England Patriots trade into 7? Does some fucking crazy-ass team like the Saints or the Steelers trade into 7 to get the quarterback that they want? I think the Broncos have the best shot to get into 7. Having the 9th pick, that gives the Lions the chance to pick whoever basically they want to. I wouldn't be surprised if something really crazy happens, though. Here comes Roger Goodell and the booze. Let's see what happens here.
Are we not?
Selection. The suspense is killing all of us.
Malcolm, we'll get to your comment here in just a second, man.
Oh, they took Jamar Chase. Okay, so they did take the wide receiver there. They go wide receiver. Okay, so I think this makes things a little bit interesting now because I think for the Broncos, we're probably going to have a chance at the best offensive lineman on the board and the best linebacker on the board and most likely the quarterback on the board. So we'll see what the Broncos do here.
Now, there's teams that are going to want all three of those. And so now you're going to have teams that are going to be multiple teams that are going to be wanting to trade up into that spot for multiple. Right. It's not just, hey, there's like a quarterback, and after that, there's no more quarterbacks left, essentially. So you have, only a certain number of teams need a quarterback. Well, now you have teams that need, either all, some, or one of those. So you're going to have more trade offers coming in too. Steve, I do appreciate. Steve is like on top, like helping us out, man. I appreciate you. You're fantastic. Now, Malcolm, appreciate you joining the show. Everyone who's here, appreciate it. Welcome to Orange Weekly. My name's Kev Dan. I'm here with Ray. We're here with you through the Broncos pick tonight. This is a blast, man. We're having some real awesome fun here right now. Grab that drink responsibly. Don't drink and drive, but grab that drink, kick back, relax, because the Broncos pick is coming up here soon. I'm not relaxing because I'm getting really freaking excited right now. Malcolm,
I know, it's getting interesting.
Bridgewater and Locke are two different QBs, so which one would be better for our wide receivers? You first, Mr. Ray.
Yeah, Bridgewater is so interesting to me because, you fast or rewind 3 years ago or so, I think prior to the injury, and Bridgewater had just a tremendous amount of hype around him. It seemed like he was sort of that new age quarterback, that sort of dual threat type of guy that you see now in the NFL, across all the boards. He has that catastrophic injury. I think he sits out of the NFL for 18 months, gets a backup gig with New Orleans, wins a couple games, goes to Carolina. And I mean, what was he 4-12 or some ridiculous number there. And the crazy thing about Bridgewater is he was, I think last year, I think I shared the stat earlier, 15 touchdown completion or 15 touchdowns last year, career high. I think at this point in time, I can't remember who posted that question here. Is it Malcolm maybe? Or I can't remember who posted that question. Malcolm. I think bringing Bridgewater to Denver, there was zero intention of Bridgewater starting a game this year. They wanted to get the room to be a little bit older. They needed a little bit of a veteran. I joke, they needed an adult in the room to tell freaking, Locke what to do and quit the Buzz Lightyear and quit scrambling and just quit screwing up games late in the game. I think Bridgewater is a non-factor this year. And if Bridgewater starts a game this year, that means shit hit the fan and things are not going well for Broncos.
So
that's my guess.
Right. And Chris, welcome to the show, man. Glad you posted that comment. I agree. Deep ball is what the Broncos need. We have the speed. We have the speed for that. So that's what we need, right? Also, you got the continuity thing. We can't keep changing quarterbacks every freaking. If we add another name to that goddamn quarterback carousel, I'm going to start punching holes in the wall.
Right. Yeah, I swear to God, Sunday Night Football, if you do one more thing about that quarterback carousel, I think, Locke feels gutsier to me. Now, here's the interesting thing. If Fields gets into the quarterback room, that is super interesting to me. And I think, Christopher, you're getting to this point right here. I think we know what this pick's going to be. It's wide receiver right here. There's no questions about this. 7 and 9, those are the two picks that are really, really interesting for this group to think about here.
Pick is in.
Oh, look, they're comparing him to A.J. Brown. Okay, let's chill out here. A.J. Brown is a man. You can't be comparing JV football players to A.J. Brown. That boy is a man. That should be for anybody that's on here, fantasy preview, that should be one of your first round draft picks right there. A.J. Brown is a top 2, top 3 receiver in this league.
There you go. Okay, so with the Dolphins pick that is now in, the Lions are going to be on the board next again.
This is where it's interesting.
Yep. So if anyone's been following, or maybe you haven't been following, any trade up rumors, speculation, whatever that has been going on with the Broncos, this is the furthest up we've even heard anyone speak of the Broncos trading up to. So this is where we really start getting to Broncos territory here. Are we going to trade up? Who's on the board? Well, we still got Fields. We still got Parsons on the board. Mm-hmm. So we have options, and it doesn't seem like a lot, but do we want to risk? To me, it's do we want to risk somebody jumping up, especially into that number 8 spot, to get whoever is number 1 on our board.
And who we decided it's number 8 is Carolina, right? So we got Carolina at number 8. So that's interesting.
There's also time for me to pour my bourbon. Instead of
bourbon, baby.
So I'm going to go grab some ice as I, get my victory drink, if you will.
There we go.
I'll let you take it over from here for a second.
Yeah, appreciate you, Christopher. Thanks for chiming in, brother. We really appreciate that. And Fidel, I see you saying there that it's either going to be Fields or Rodgers coming into town. So we'll see what's going to happen here. Man, here we go. Here, pick is in right now. Who's this? Mel Kiper. That dude is aged like fine wine. I mean, if I look like that, Mel Kiper looks the exact same as he did in 1999 as he does today in 2021. It's unbelievable what Mel Kiper looks like here. So here we go. Booger McFarland is chatting in here. Dolphins. I think it's got to be a wide receiver here. I don't think there's any doubt about it here. I can't even remember who's the second wide receiver that's on the board right now. C-Dubs, I see you right there. What bourbon are you drinking? And Jack Daniels today. Listen, I'm going old school right here. I just got my Voodoo Ranger IPA, New Belgium. Shout out to you folks. Here comes Goodell to the field. Hey, hey, Dan. Everybody wants to know what you're drinking, so we tell them what kind of bourbon you're drinking.
So I found this one, George Dickel Sour Mash Whiskey, 9-year.
George, what?
George Dickel.
Oh, okay. I just want to make sure I heard that word right because I did. Yep.
The name did make me chuckle because I am, 12 years old mentally, maturity level. But yeah, 9 years old and definitely just kind of expanding past the normal bourbons out there.
Pick is in. We get Waddle from, I think, Alabama, I believe, is the home institution of this guy right here. No questions. This was no doubter. This is where shit's going to hit the fan. This will be really interesting here at number 7 to see what happens.
Speaking of shit hitting the fan, we got David. David, shit has literally hit the fan. So glad you're here, man. I like how you waited till the Broncos are just now kind of in the realm of like being a team that needs to be talked about.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I didn't
an hour and a half ago when we went live.
So I forgot that anything was happening. Like, so I was like, what,
tonight? What?
Normal Thursday. Yeah. What's going on? I picked it up. We're having a draft. So yeah. Like you were saying, Kev, it looks like the Broncos, maybe not so relevant here. The Lions pick is already in. So unless they've traded that pick.
Oh, wow.
Let me check
the old
Twitter here.
Check the Twitter sphere.
Yeah, we're checking the Twitter.
Instead of pick is in, it would have said trade alert.
I think it would say pick is in first, I think.
Right, it would, but the Tweeter is
Twitter's been crazy today in many
ways. It's been hard to trust.
If the Lions are picking right here, I tell you what's happening. It's going OT right now. I think they're going offensive tackle. I think they're taking Penei Swell or Soleil off the board right now. I think that's what they're going to do. I think they're going to give Darnold the best shot or no, not Darnold. What the heck is it? Goff the best shot to make it happen.
Pick is in. Detroit Lions pick is in.
Wow, my heart rate is just.
It's online. It's whether it's a trade or not, we don't know yet. So this is going to be interesting. But that was a very quick decision.
So that tells me it's a trade.
That's going to be a trade. Completely agreed. So you know what? I'm going to throw it up here. I'm going to throw in a trade alert. There it is.
Okay.
I think it's premature. You know what? They've had pick is in for the Lions draft. It's been a minute.
I made this banner. Okay, if I don't get to use this banner, I'm going to be mad. So I want to just go ahead and use it. If I'm wrong,
we're at pick 7. But
it's breaking news. Nobody else is calling a trade alert yet, except for us. So
there might be a reason nobody else is calling a trade alert except for us.
That's okay.
Okay, all right.
Listen. Hey, K-Dad, if you have some premature, there's the Rocky Mountains Men Clinic. I hear that ad all the time.
They don't sponsor
us. Not a sponsor of the show.
At least
we want to make that very clear.
Right.
Open to sponsorship, but not there yet. The longer this thing says Lions pick is in, the more nervous I'm getting about this trade alert.
I'm seeing nothing. I'm seeing nothing on the trade side of things on the Twitters. All the big dogs. No Schefters. No Rappaports, nothing right now.
Yeah.
That's just
I don't
because
see
that's how
clips or
good we
anything.
are here. Let's see.
All right.
Well,
Well,
why else? Okay, so if you're the Lions, let me ask you this way. If you're the Lions, why do you not spend that time listening and fielding any phone calls?
it's a possibility that there's nobody calling. It's a possibility that they've had the calls. They probably had the calls for the past 3-4 weeks. Maybe they just didn't get a compelling offer. At this point,
I will say,
there's that last minute panic that you hope for if you're the Lions, that somebody says, all right, well, I'll give up a little extra now. But I don't know. Your idea of a tackle for them really interested me, especially with Dan Quinn there. Just the way he's introduced himself and kind of represented himself around the team. Somebody in the trenches like that, or even somebody like Micah Parsons, who a guy who he views as a hard-nosed culture building around football player. We'll see. The pick has been in an awfully long time for them to not announce it.
Right,
so
I
here's
agree.
the thing. This was a make or break moment for me. I don't have much of a reputation out there. Twitter space. I'm not a Benjamin Albright. I'm not, any of these big name guys. So pretty much this was my I either call it first, the very slim chance I'm right, or I'm wrong, and I don't lose anything anyway because I don't have much of a reputation anyway. So.
Fair enough.
But you're right. I am at this point. Well, no, now I'm not. I can't take it down until it's official because I'm not going to go back and forth. I'm not going to be wishy-washy.
Your clout ends right here. I called it. My show, I called it. If I'm wrong, then I'll change it once I know I'm wrong.
That's fair enough.
And I saw Christopher put in a chat there. Will the Lions pick up Fields? I don't see the Lions taking a quarterback right here. I just my gut tells me
you have no wide receivers. You have a quarterback, but you have no one to throw to.
And Goff's not a bad quarterback. I honestly think Goff's a top 10, 12, somewhere in that range, 10 to 15 type of quarterback right there. Goff took the Rams took close to the promised land here. So I certainly don't think Goff is a bad guy. But you're right. It's been on the clock for quite some time here. This is where I thought a quarterback was coming off the clock, off the board right here. I'm very surprised that we're not seeing a quarterback right now.
Right. Everybody in Detroit is very happy.
Okay. It's not a trade. So C-Dubs here, I will say, is here's me as a Broncos fan. Here is C-Dubs as a Broncos fan. He is above all of us. I'm surprised he hasn't joined our podcast yet. So C-Dubs, I appreciate how big of a Broncos fan you are and watching our show. So are we 100% official? Yep. Okay. It's definitely not a trade. I was wrong. I take it back. I redact. The pick is in.
Turn up the volume here.
We're going back.
I imagine this would be really bad for Roger Goodell if he shakes the hand of some guy on a couch. It looks like he might be physically impaired, and then they trade the pick. I think this would be a very bad.
It's Penei Sewell. Your initial instinct was right. It was Penei Sewell.
Okay, so no trade.
Listen, boys. Has anybody got any money on this draft? Because it would be pretty good to put some money on it right now.
Right now, huh?
I would have put some money down on me being right just because I knew the odds of it were a long shot.
The most important thing that just happened here, though, is now the offensive tackle's off the board for the Broncos. So I think really what we're looking at right now is because unless Carolina does something crazy, we're talking Micah Parsons or Justin Fields. That's all we're talking about right now for the Broncos at 9.
Don't count out Rashawn Slater. It's a thing
that could happen. I don't see Slater happening.
It could happen.
I don't see it happening.
It might. Who knows? But it could happen. I can't shake that feeling that seems like a very Broncos thing to do this year. But now we've got Carolina on the board, guys, and we have to talk about it because if Carolina's on the board. And Justin Fields still on the board, like with Carolina on the clock.
Before we get into that,
right? It's now it comes down to we're going to find out how highly does George Payton have Justin Fields rated? What is he? So
we are getting into the make or break moment here for the Denver Broncos. Obviously, a lot of things. Are we going to trade? Are we going to get Justin Fields? What are we going to do? Right. Before we get into that, guys, remember, I want to thank everybody for being here. We are going to stay a little bit after the pick to talk about it, break it down. Not really going to talk about many picks after that. But we're going to stay here a little bit afterwards. But I do appreciate everyone joining here. Hit that share button. Remember, we are going to be doing a post-draft podcast and a post-draft live show next Tuesday, 7 p.m. Mountain Time. Bourbon Broncos No BS. Join us for that. Also join us throughout the regular season for all of our content. You can check out our website, BroncosOrangeWeekly.com. Make sure you follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. Follow us on all those places. We really appreciate it. Give us some feedback. Give us a rating on any or all of those places. We really appreciate all of your support. So just in case things get absolutely crazy and I forget to say all of this, I want to make sure I got it in now. So with that being said, I do appreciate everyone joining here tonight, but we are getting into this is it, guys. This is it. So Carolina on the board. Broncos right next after them at pick number 9, barring any trades that the Panthers make. So I cut you off there, Ray. What were you thinking?
Here's the philosophical question, and David and Kev, I love to take your opinions on this. I've heard this mentality of the offseason is for the coach, but the draft is for the GM, right? And so we got to think about this question right now. Are we drafting for Vic? Or are we drafting for George Paton's future? And I think the answer to that question tells you what you need to know for this pick.
George Paton isn't picking for his future. He's not going to be, if I'm understanding what you're saying right, he's not being forced into a pick. Like, you know, if this pick goes wrong, he's not going to get fired, right? So this isn't like, oh, God, I have to make the right thing. Look, he's going to make the decision what he thinks is best for the team in this moment. In the moment.
Okay, so you're not thinking he's thinking –
because if he was going to wipe the slate clean and start rebuilding this team, we'd be having a completely different conversation about who this pick is going to be.
Yep.
So I really feel, especially after this is me, after this Bridgewater pick trade that we made yesterday, we're not going to go for quarterback. If you ask me, we're going to go for a tackle or a trade down. I think it's maybe a 51-49 split in favor of trading down, to be honest with you, because of what he said earlier in the offseason about saying, I build teams through the draft.
And he has a history of accumulating picks, right?
Exactly. And so it could go either way, but if I had to put money down on something, so here we go.
And I think, what did they say? I think George Paton last year in Minnesota had the most picks in NFL history. I think they had 15 picks or 16 picks. Last year or whatever. But David, what's your perspective on that? Is George Paton drafting for George Paton, or is he drafting for Vic Fangio right now?
And welcome, Adam. Thanks for watching from Raiders country. We appreciate you. But I think Kevin's right on, honestly, and that's what we've been seeing George Paton do this entire offseason. I think when he came in here, he wanted to give, he put an ultimatum in right away, make the playoffs. Do that, coaching staff, and you get to stay. Don't do it, and we're probably talking about everybody getting fired at the end of the year.
Sure.
So I think to do that, he really wanted to give them as fair a chance as possible to succeed this year, and that's what all of the moves have been geared toward. You see it with the Kyle Fuller signing, bringing Von Miller back, getting Jackson back, reassembling this defense for Vic Fangio in the way that he would want it. Trying to load up on the offense. And I know, it's tempting to go out there and take a quarterback. You're at number 9 overall. You don't get to draft that high very often.
Fields is there.
And you better never draft there again if you
That's it. But that's the thing. It doesn't further your goal of giving your coaching staff the best chance to win this year by taking a rookie quarterback. There's just a whole nother set of dynamics that comes along with that, with figuring out when he's going to play, if he's going to play at all this season, what he's ready to do. And there's going to be a ton of pressure on him from the fans right away. No matter what the coaching staff thinks he's ready for, the fans are going to be asking for him, begging for him to be starting. So to me, it just hasn't been that we haven't seen that urgency to start over at quarterback right away for George Paton just because he can. And so that, I think, it really is going to be a scenario where we pick a tackle if Slater's available, or trade back here. I know Parsons has been a popular name. I just don't see the Broncos going that direction.
That's right. Yeah, that's what my gut tells me that for sure. Yeah. Christopher's the man right now. Christopher's thought process has been all over it.
So what I've noticed is we've had a lot of return viewers, and you're fantastic, and a bunch of brand new viewers, and you're fantastic. Guys, here at Orange Weekly, we are all about talking with you guys. You can see a whole bunch of live shows out there from some of these bigger shows that just talk to you and at you and not with you. So here at Orange Weekly, we are a smaller podcast, but our whole purpose is talking with you guys. If you haven't been able to tell through the comments and how we run this show, this is how we do this. So please come back. There it is.
Yep, it is J.C. Horn, cornerback.
I didn't boo.
Absolutely. Yeah, interesting. And that's,
We forgot the boo.
Now we're going to see how far Caleb Farley falls. I know we're about to talk Broncos here in a second because we're on the clock, but really interesting to see Horn come all the way up and to the top 10. Farley probably one of the better talents, but those medicals are clearly scaring some people away.
Yeah.
But yeah, Chris, listen, nice job, man. Nice job.
I'm thinking quarterback's happening here.
Yeah,
my gut tells me
trading down.
My gut tells me Justin Fields is coming off the board right now.
I don't think so. I think it's going to be. I think we're trading down
because.
Listen. So we're
going to be here for a while
because I think Justin Fields is coming off the board. Right. I think Justin Fields is coming off the board right now.
Okay. Either way. All right. I think that's a probably
okay.
Bet.
I mean, look. Call Bill Belichick. Hey, all right. What you want, buddy? What you want, buddy?
Valentino, how you doing? Terry, how you doing? I'm trying to call out everybody's new name that I can see. Rocco, I don't know if I called you out earlier too. Welcome to the show. Glad you're here, man. Broncos are still on the clock. We are counting down to the Broncos' decision.
Kevin didn't quite say this, but again, man, we're Orange Weekly. We care about the fans. We just love talking Broncos. We literally would be doing this on FaceTime, but we're just glad to do it with you guys. Much appreciated. I've known these two buffoons next to me for more years than I care to admit, probably 20 years at this point in time.
God, don't say that. Wow.
So we have so many great memories from the cowboy hat flying off of Kevin Dandino's head.
Oh God.
David and I had the most insane tour of New Belgium once upon a time. So
I remember that so often. Oh my God.
So yeah, we're just buddies that love talking Broncos, and we love talking with you all, without a doubt.
We knew each other before the facial hair. Let's just say that.
That's right.
Okay, Fidel, Justin Fields, Patrick Surtain, or Rodgers here. Again, what I've noticed, if you haven't noticed, especially on the ticker across the bottom over the last 20 minutes, the Rodgers stuff has really tailed off. I haven't seen any really new tweets. It's pretty much been killed.
Yeah, I saw a tweet from Ryan Harris that said the Packers have decided to call his bluff, and that's done.
That's what we were talking about before you joined the last second.
Yeah, I think that's over. If it hasn't happened by now, it was going to happen by the Broncos' 9th pick because they needed to get that pick traded this year if it was going to happen, and it's done. So yeah, you're
5 minutes till the Broncos pick.
We've already the last couple are done right off the board, so I'm getting nervous.
Right, all of us are.
The pick is not in yet. It is not in yet.
We're still counting down less than 5 minutes.
I think it's got Fields, and this is going to go down to the last minute, I'm guessing.
Oh yeah, well, you got to imagine that there are calls coming into the war room there. People trying to trade up, other teams maybe wanting Fields. Because you got to look. So who's after us? Here's kind of what I'm looking at. Cowboys need a cornerback, offensive line. Giants need a wide receiver, an edge. Eagles need a wide receiver, a tight end. Then you got the Chargers. To me, the Chargers need that offensive line. So, now you got to start thinking like, do we trade down and then give, our division rivals a higher big player, So
it's got to be a quarterback needy team. I think New England at 15. I think they're at 15. If I made that up,
I could see us trading with New England. That would make sense.
I think New England comes to 15. I think that makes a lot of sense there potentially because at 15 we still get the top safety in the draft, and we. I think there's certainly a chance for the defensive back in that situation. What's the safety? Woodward or something like that. I think is the top safety in the draft. So I've seen projections of him at around 15 or 20 because.
And to me, at the Broncos still on the clock here, the pick is not in, which tells me they are trading this pick. That to me, it's been they've got 2 minutes.
I'm so nervous.
Yeah, 2 minutes 45 seconds left. The pick is not in. I'm guessing it's going to be a trade down at this point.
You think so?
Yeah, looks that. I'm refreshing Twitter feverishly.
And Christopher just put on there. It's been this long. They're going to trade down. Christopher and I between the two of us, we're like 97% on this draft so far. So
Maybe you need
Pick
to
is
start,
in. Wait, what? I see Ryan says Pick's in. I don't see it on my feed
I
yet.
don't see it online either.
I've still got
2:20 on the clock.
I've still got 2:10 on the clock.
And CBS has been updating it like to the moment as sooner than the TV is actually in. So no pick is in yet. 2:30 on the clock is what I'm seeing right now on my side.
I'm watching live on ABC. It's 1 minute 53 seconds left on the clock.
Hey guys, can we this pinnacle of the offseason right here? Okay, just
so
saying,
far.
pinnacle of the so far. As of right now, we haven't made a pick yet, but this is fucking exciting. So
I'm as nervous as I've been in a minute.
Cheers to you guys because you're all fantastic. And Jared, who is both recovering from the Fauci flu as well as his internet went out, one or the other, I don't know, or both. Matt, whose internet, whose computer needed to restart an hour and a half ago, who still isn't here. I appreciate
Ryan's
you
saying
all.
they're 2 minutes ahead of us. Is that
If Ryan
I
said
see
picks are
145.
in,
Right.
Justin Fields
I
is the
still
pick.
don't see. I still don't see pick is in on CBS.
I don't either, and now we're on commercial with no countdown on ABC.
That's speculation. Justin Fields is my pick right here at 108. We'll see. I will.
Yeah, I'm at 1:30, so you're 30 seconds ahead of me, Steve. But CBS website is still showing no pick, and I'll even pull it up here.
I haven't. I'm on YouTube Live. 55 seconds right now. No pick at this point. Trade. I see Christopher saying trade right now. Let's see what happens.
Do I get to pull up my trade thing? My trade alert.
Hey, you're about 6 minutes and 9 minutes and 20 seconds late to be the first one in on the. Okay, I see a couple guys saying pick is in. Pick is in. I see pick is in. Pick is in.
The pick is in. Ryan
Pick is
Edwards
in, no
of
trade.
KOA tweets
No
the
trade.
Broncos draft Justin Fields.
You
Really?
think? Really?
Yes.
I see the reaction in the chat is Fields. I see a couple folks putting Fields.
We have to put Ryan. We have to give Ryan a little bit of play here. If he
give
called it 2
Ryan
minutes ahead.
put his chat. Listen,
Yeah,
Dandino,
you got to put his
given
comment up there.
Dandino, you've given me guest privileges. I can't do anything in the chat right now, so I have guest privileges.
it.
The pick is in.
Scroll up 723.
Wait, I see Surtain. I just saw a tweet that said
I'm seeing
Surtain.
Slater.
Oh my, they
Chris
did.
is saying Slater.
Yep. The Broncos with the number 9 pick take Patrick Surtain the second. That's Mike Kliss.
That's
Surtain.
Kliss. Kliss is right.
Yep. Wow. Okay. Wow.
Patrick Surtain?
Patrick Surtain.
Really?
Yep. Patrick
Kliss.
Surtain the second. Wow.
Kliss is the right one. Kliss has got it right.
Yep. That's the right one. Man, my goodness. All right. Well, let's break it down, fellas. We didn't think first round corner after the Broncos went through free agency.
No.
And here we are.
See,
God,
I still don't see it on my side.
Yeah.
I see.
No,
I believe you
pick is
guys,
in.
but I see pick is in.
yeah.
Here comes Goodell walking to the board.
Yep. It's Surtain.
Surtain.
All
Wow.
Interesting.
Let's break it down. People aren't going to be happy about this pick, guys. Let's face that right now with
People
Fields
aren't
on the
gonna take
board.
this.
Slater on the board, Parsons on the board. The Broncos decide to go cornerback. What are your initial reactions? I'm surprised. Obviously, I'm going to steal that one from everybody. You didn't think this was going to be a real big area of need for the Broncos going in. What this tells me immediately is they didn't get a trade down offer that blew them away.
Yeah. Good point.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, thanks, Ryan. You got us there. Anyway, I'm guessing at this point, Surtain was just the best player on their board. The highest rated, maybe rated above Slater. Maybe they just thought he wasn't going to be there when they got a chance to pick. But he was the highest player left on their board. They didn't get a wow offer to move down, and they didn't have a great evaluation on Justin Fields. I guess they just did not view Fields as a guy of future.
Even better than trading down? I agree with what you're saying. So obviously that's what they felt was the best player, but I do see some teams below us that need a cornerback eventually, but
Right.
I
mean,
so
Surtain
I would have
is still
expected
there at
us to
15.
get Surtain if we traded down, not
Right,
here at number
right.
9. Why not take something? So I'm not upset by this pick at all. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, the first defensive draft pick of this year. So, just definitely an interesting one. Something that I think this is the first pick of this draft that nobody really expected to happen at this point.
For sure. Yeah, I think this is a surprise pick.
Great.
And that's the other thing locally. No, nationally, I think there was this either cornerback or quarterback discussion for the Broncos. And it seemed to me, based on just lazy evaluation from people who didn't take the time to study the needs of these teams that they don't actually pay attention to for more than 5 minutes in a season.
Right.
So, to me, it made sense that they were picking corner for the Broncos because they didn't really view our offseason moves as a game changer there. I did. Clearly, we were wrong.
So just looking at the chat, this is an unpopular pick.
Yeah.
Just looking at the 10 comments we've had here so far. Why not Fields? A lot of nopes, no's. Erica is excited. I'm of the mindset that, look, if this is the best person they thought on the board and it was worth not trading down for him,
Right.
I'm going to go with him because I'm not the GM. I am not Coach Fangio. And you got Fangio. Surtain is going to be a fantastic player on day one because of Fangio alone, right? But yeah, so look, what the conversation in Broncos country is going to be is, why do we pass up on Fields? We had Fields there at number 9. Why do we pass up on him? Right. And if anything, if we're going to pass on him, why do we at least not trade down?
Yeah, absolutely. And there's just one idea in my head. Maybe the Broncos don't think the Aaron Rodgers thing is totally over. Now, obviously, you would have wanted to have the number 9 pick to give them.
See, I'm going to say it's over at this point, but what if it's not?
Right.
Well, to your point, David, that means that worst case scenario, it's Locke and Bridgewater, and that means that the coaching staff is comfortable with Locke and Bridgewater going into the season, right?
Yeah.
And, I agree, David. I don't think by any stretch of the imagination has Locke been plan A, right? I think that Locke's been plan B or C, but what this tells us today is that they are comfortable if nothing else happens with Locke and Bridgewater starting the 21-22 NFL season.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's going to be
that is interesting.
Yeah.
You're going to hear about a quarterback battle. There is not going to be a quarterback battle. Drew Lock will be the starter. You've heard it from me. Hear from me first. Right. Ignore. So anyone who says quarterback battle, it's clickbait. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. So
hey, Kevin.
Period at the end.
Sorry to interrupt you, but you can put your trade graphic on the clock.
Ooh, I can.
Yes.
I'm not even paying attention anymore. But
the Cowboys have traded up to number 10, traded back from number 10, traded that pick to the Eagles. Interestingly enough, their division rival.
2 spots. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Probably because the Giants need a wide receiver as well.
Absolutely. And we heard, I heard a little bit on Twitter about the Eagles trying to move back up after moving down. Interesting. Anyway, let's go back to the Broncos here.
C-Dubs here. Yep. So we have 2 between Jerry Jeudy and Surtain now. 2 Alabama youngsters on our team. But C-Dubs, big Broncos fan right there. Loves the orange and blue. And if he says otherwise in the chat, I'm not going to pull it up. So there you go.
And let's talk a little bit about the pick that we did get.
Yeah. So
go ahead.
I'm more shocked, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I'm not upset by it. It's just it was out of left field.
So
I didn't see a mock draft that had us getting Surtain.
No, me neither.
Yeah.
I mean, I did, but only from from national media guys who I just thought had us going there because they weren't paying attention.
Sure. And so we got Callahan, who's basically never played a 16-game season in his entire career, right? So we got that. We got a couple of guys on rental agreements, basically at this point in time. So, I mean, tightening up the outside of the cornerback space, I think, is certainly that. You know what it ultimately probably is? A response to the AFC West, right?
Oh,
there's so many weapons on the outside. In order to compete, we have to have a lockdown cornerback. I think that's the option there. Is Surtain a starter? I think that's an interesting question this year with let's walk. I mean, who do we have on the outside at this point?
Well, you've got Fuller.
Fuller on one night, right?
Yep. You've got
Callahan,
and I think they'd like to play Callahan inside if they can.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think he's the slot guy, right?
Right. So who do you have then? You've got Ojemudia,
who is
Darby.
He's flashed at times. You got Darby,
but I think they picked up probably Darby and Fuller to be those outside guys, and then Bryce Callahan in the slot.
Yeah.
But we'll see. You can never have enough good corners. First of all, second of all, we know how much Fangio likes to mix coverages, bring in extra defenders. Darby has a multi-year deal. Fuller only has a 1-year contract.
1 year deal, right?
That could be.
Yeah,
and I think Callahan's on the last year of his deal. If I'm making that up,
he is.
So I think
with
two guys on 1 year.
I can't see us bringing him back.
Right,
I also believe Fuller is over. Isn't he older than 30? I'm pretty sure he's over 30 at this point.
So I mean, it's an interesting pick. And back to the question: who do we pick for? Right? Do we pick for the GM or do we pick for the head coach?
And
this feels like a head coach pick.
Yeah, I was just about to address that, but because I think it's really both. Because you've got Pat Surtain, a 6'1", 200-pound corner who played at Alabama. That's a guy who every coaching staff defensively, no matter what scheme they're going to be running, is going to feel comfortable that they can use his skills.
He's played against the Jamar Chase and all the top number 1 wide receivers that are in this draft class. He's already played against them all through college. So
yes. And Steve, that's an interesting question. Oj is, I think, especially a candidate for maybe seeing some snaps there.
Right. With Jackson being on the last year of his deal, right? So we're probably talking the 5 starting DBs we have, 3 are on a 1-year deal.
Yeah, exactly. So it makes a lot of sense from a team building perspective. It makes a lot of sense for the coach that we have now and for the GM who may be looking past this year.
Sure.
It's definitely, we understand it's disappointing because you thought maybe the quarterback of the future was there, and it didn't work out. But again,
it'll be interesting to see what the Patriots do then, because Patriots, I'm guessing, will get Fields there at that point. So the more you guys discuss it, the more I think about and digest this. Yeah. So it seems like a compromise, and that's kind of what this has all been about, right? Like we have a GM coming into a team that has a lot of good things going for it, is not looking to wipe the slate clean right away. Hey, what can we do to build upon this?
Yeah.
We have a really solid defense. Hey, coach, what do you want? Hey, what do I foresee in the coming future? Who are these best players? Let's talk together. And this tells me that there was a lot of good discussion amongst all of these different elements between the front office and the coaching staff to make this decision. So I'm even less, I guess, shocked about it the more I think about it, because it does make sense from the perspective of, what Peyton walked into as this new GM. So
definitely,
you're right. And I'm seeing, so the initial reactions were, holy crap, oh man, I can't believe we did this. We screwed this up. Here comes another losing year. And now I'm seeing a whole lot more of, okay, no fly zone again. Okay, well, hey, these contract years, could one move to safety? There's a lot of more. Okay, well, wait, if we think about this does give our defense even more options this point.
You're right. Yeah, a little. Yeah, absolutely.
So,
it's really been interesting.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I am too. It's been interesting to watch what Twitter's been doing today and how George Payton has gone from hero to zero in the span of about an hour and a half.
You're right, Chris. You're right.
It's Devontae Smith goes to the Eagles here. I'm just really interested to see where Justin Fields goes.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It was like, well, at this point, like, where does he go?
Is Washington? Is Chicago? Is New England? I mean, New England is what, the 15th pick? Like you said, it's pick 11 now. The Giants.
I would say the soonest he goes is the Vikings.
And the Vikings, that's a possibility. So but is somebody going to trade up to go get him? I'm very, very interested to see how that goes.
Let's stay live until we see Justin. Well, let's stay live through the Vikings, the Patriots, because after that, it's a while until anyone needs a quarterback, which is the Jets at 23. So.
Right. Yeah. And the Jets picked a quarterback.
Oh, sorry, not the Jets. Who does need a quarterback next? The Bears.
Yeah, right. Malcolm had a good question here.
And Malcolm's been awesome tonight. Seriously, man, I'm glad you're watching our show. We have a lot of new people tonight, and I appreciate all of you tuning in. It's been fun.
Absolutely. What does Vic have to do to keep his job? We talked a little bit about it with Ben Albright the other week on the pre-draft podcast. There's definitely a playoff mandate in place for the coaching staff. Regarding outside of it. Ray's back. All right.
I'm just sitting here like drinking my drink. I look down and Ray. I wish everyone else could just show everybody here.
I hit the doorbell twice to try to get back into this freaking room.
Just demonstrate what you were doing because it was way too funny.
In the waiting room. Just help me out here, K-Dan.
Sorry, but
all right. Anyway, so we've got a playoff mandate for at least the offensive coaching staff, and I would understand for sure why Peyton would be hesitant to let go of Fangio's defensive mind, especially with the way his scheme is proliferating across the league. The Packers picked it up this offseason. The Rams picked it up this offseason. The Chargers picked it up this offseason. But if there's no, if the Broncos don't make the playoffs, even with the quarterback situation as it is, Pat Shurmur is certainly going to be gone. And Vic, totally. I think Vic, it would really behoove Vic Fangio to make the playoffs this year. Let's put it that way.
And the other piece of that too is what the pending sale of the team. I mean, that certainly makes things interesting. That's why George Payton negotiated that 6-year contract. I think Vic's got to deliver a top 5 defense without a freaking doubt.
Oh yeah,
this year. And what is it? 17-game season. So you got to be over 500. You got to be 9-8. So and playoffs are probably 10-7 is what people are talking about right now at this point in time. So the other thing too, and we've had a lot of internal dialogue as far as the Orange Weekly crew goes. But for me, it's Vic's got to pass the eye test, right? There was at least 3, maybe 4 games last season of bonehead decisions, bonehead play calls. The timeouts, the weird challenges late in the game, some of the decision making, I can't see any of those this year. Period.
Yeah, absolutely.
Period.
Let's see. C-Dub's Broncos fan here says Chicago will always need a quarterback. I agree.
Yeah,
and this is it's well spoken from a solid Broncos fan. I appreciate that comment there.
And Christopher's right. The Bears traded up to number 11. The Giants traded down.
So I do get to use it again.
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
you get to do it again.
Dave Gettleman executes his first draft day trade down ever. Yeah.
Yep.
So it's got to be Justin Fields at this point, you would think, for the Bears, right?
You got to, right?
Yeah. It's who unless they just traded up for Mac Jones.
Well, I mean, that's you're skipping New England because New England would get Fields at that point.
I see.
Right. And honestly, like the other interesting about the Mac Jones narrative, let's like contrast that with the Baker Mayfield narrative. Baker Mayfield was always going to be a first-round draft pick.
Yes.
He just went from pick 20 to pick 1.
Yeah.
Mac Jones has always been a second-round pick.
Right.
And you've never seen somebody make that kind of astronomical leap, and that's why Mac Jones is still on the board at 11.
Right. The narrative and the narrative and the tape just never matched up with Mac Jones at number 3. And that, I think is why you saw so much just total disbelief from actual NFL sources regarding it.
Yes,
Ryan, we trust you every time.
No, heck no, Ryan.
No, I'll come back to you, Ryan.
Listen, Ryan, I took a live bet for the 9th pick overall to go quarterback at plus 500. So you kind of fucked me that last time, Ryan. That's no big deal.
Ryan, I'm ready to get hurt again. Tell me something about Aaron Rodgers, and I'm ready to retweet you.
Ryan, we trust you. We trust you, Ryan. Whatever you got to say.
That's right. Anytime.
Make sure you follow us at Orange Weekly on Twitter.
Yes, please do.
But in all seriousness, though, we do love each and every one of you so much because it's just so much fun. And I mean, there's so many people that have been following us for years. Fidel and Red Cloud. I mean, there's so many people that have been following us for years. We just appreciate y'all so much.
I think Ryan is there at the draft because he's beating all the TV streams, internet streams. He's just
that's how he's 2 minutes ahead.
Yeah, literally 2 minutes ahead of everything.
Right. Oh boy.
So we are getting if Justin Fields is this pick, we're gonna go ahead and start wrapping it up. If not, let's wait to see what New England does. But again, we will be doing a post-draft Bourbon Broncos No BS show this Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Mountain Time. We will also be doing a post-draft podcast. Make sure you follow us on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, wherever you listen to your podcast. We're there. Make sure you also follow the Ragers with an R. Podcast, same places. Ray is the host of that. So when we get to the football season, he'll break down a lot of the Broncos bets that he's taking. What you said about 60% win percentage there?
Yeah, I've been over 60% for 2 seasons in a row. We love doing it. We have a good time. Let's make some money together.
It's not just I like the Broncos, so I'm going to pick them, because if that was the case, you would be at like a 20% win average rate.
And in fact, we do bet against the Broncos every so often. I mean, it's all about making money and having a good time.
So we'll do it. So awesome. But I do appreciate all of you. And so we are waiting for the pick here. I don't want to spoil too much of it. Malcolm, seriously, and everyone who's been here, Fidel, Ryan, Zach, Erica, and I mean, I could go through all of the tons of names we've seen tonight. C-Dubs, who is a Broncos fan. Seriously, bottom line, look, at the end of the day, whether you like it or not, if you agree with the pick or not, Patrick Surtain II, cornerback from Alabama, is a Bronco. He is the number 1 pick for us in the 2021 draft. I fully expect that he is going to be somebody who's going to be outstanding, especially let's say that Coach Fangio gets fired after this year. Things go terribly wrong. He is going to learn from the best defensive-minded coach out there right now, if you ask me. And so that is going to set him up for a extensive, incredible career. And so I'm excited to see what this guy does.
Now, if Vic would just care this much about the offense, we might be a pretty damn good team.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Maybe this year's the year.
Like this much.
But the pick is in, and we're booing because he's reading the announcement. And the Bears select the Bears.
It's got to be Fields.
It's got to be Fields. There's no
gotta
way.
Be.
Fields.
It would be the Bears to screw it up, though. Because the last time I remember the Bears making a trade in the draft, it was the number 2 pick to the number 1 pick for a quarterback that ended up sucking. So
it's got to be the Bears. There got to be Fields for the Bears.
Yep, it is.
Yep.
All right.
Okay. So at number 11, the Bears take Fields. So hopefully that trade up for a quarterback doesn't bite him in the ass like the last one did a few years ago.
Well, and this is it. Like, I mean,
closing thoughts, David. We'll start with you, man. Go for it.
Yeah, it's just you're going to hear a lot from people in Broncos media over the next few days with opinions that the Broncos failed this draft because they didn't come away with the quarterback and they had a chance to get one. Honestly, guys, to me, and maybe Justin Fields turns into a great pro. I certainly I liked him. Honestly, I really did. I liked him, and I kind of wanted the Broncos to pick him too. But the GM, the scouts, everybody in the building made a different call. And whether that's right or wrong, it's literally impossible to know right now. It's literally going to be impossible to know for a couple of years, probably. Yeah. So just don't knee-jerk too hard on this one, is what I guess I'm going to say. Think about the talent we got instead of the talent we didn't get. Yep. And, there's a lot of options in the future open still. Mm-hmm. That's the one thing the Broncos have really done for themselves, is keep their options open, especially at the quarterback position.
Ray, what you got?
This tells me that George Payton and company believe that the Broncos have a really good roster. They drafted the best player available. And when you have the luxury to draft the best player available, that means you feel pretty confident with your roster. The question, though, is, can we keep up with Herbert? Can we keep up with Mahomes? Can we keep up with the Raiders, who we lost, I think, both games last year? We haven't won an AFC West road game, I think, in multiple years. Does this pick give us a better chance to win games next year? I don't know the answer to that question, but I sure hope George Payton has a plan to ensure that we can be an above 500 team. I think his plan right now is best defense possible that he could create, great offensive, young-minded people, and hopefully that Locke makes the leap that he expected to leap, or maybe he's got an Aaron Rodgers or Deshaun Watson in his back pocket. I don't know. I'll take either one of those guys over Locke, but this tells me They think they have a really good roster on paper. Therefore, they took the best player available.
Yeah, Ryan, you're right. He's telling us what we want to hear, and that's based off of his judgment, right? So we'll see. This time next year, we will either have picked a quarterback because we're going to trade up to get one. Look, if Locke does not, knock on wood, because I do not want this to fail. If Locke does not end up being the quarterback for us, and we will know this time next year, easily by this time next year, whether that's the case or not, we will probably, and I'm going to way too early in advance predictive call here, we will trade up heavily in the draft to get a quarterback.
But the interesting thing, though, if you look at the landscape, I think the consensus is that next year's quarterback class is the weakest it's been in a very long time. The interesting thing, though, is you have probably the most interesting free market quarterback class, or the free agent quarterback class.
What do you give up?
I think that's an interesting thing to think about. I think I can't think of all the quarterbacks, but I think there's 3 or 4 long-term quarterbacks that are on last year's deals this year. And so we might see the weakest college quarterback class, but we might see the strongest free agent quarterback class next year, to your point, K-Dan. So this tells me that they've planned for worst-case scenario. Everybody does it, right? Yep. What happens if worst-case scenario for the Broncos right now is they got Locke and Bridgewater, and they're comfortable with that.
Yeah, exactly. Steve, this is a good question. What are we going to do over the next 2 days? Yeah, definitely. I think a tackle, you got the running back, you got the linebacker. There's a lot of things that we could improve upon. Day 2 is going to be interesting, and we're going to break all of this down for all of you in the next Tuesday's live show, Bourbon Broncos No BS, 7 p.m. Mountain Time on Tuesday, as well as our post-draft podcast when we break down who our selections are from this year's draft. So yeah, I don't want to cut people's questions off. Please come back this next Tuesday and we can talk a whole lot more in depth about what happened following this draft. Let's see. Malcolm, always my favorite player, but I'm glad he stepped down. Again, this is the thing where he stepped down, but he also kind of self-promoted. He stepped up, but also down at the same time. It was
I like to think of him as
lateral, positive, negative move that only he could make.
Yeah,
he stepped diagonally.
Right. He went sideways, but also up. And is, as a result, no longer responsible for any of the things that he was responsible for before.
So here we are, just over 2 hours from when we started this broadcast. Everyone, I appreciate you tuning in. Patrick Surtain, the second cornerback from Alabama, is the Broncos NFL 2021 first-round pick. Glad you're all here. Hopefully we made some new fans today. We saw some return viewers. Appreciate all of you wherever you're watching from. And hopefully you follow us and make sure you come back to our other videos and shows, podcasts later on down the line. Exciting times. We're going to see what happens. Like you said, I think, David, you didn't have the most profound comment tonight. I think it's going to be Ray that made the most profound observation tonight. And that was, I'm not going to lean in like you did, David. I'm sorry. I'm just not going to build up to it like that. Ray did say, and this is a really good point, that per Pro Football Focus, the Broncos have the 6th best rated roster in the league. And that says a lot as to where we already are. You fine tune a couple things. We're a team that's going to be talking about where in the playoffs we're going to be versus are we even a playoff caliber team? Yeah. You get Drew Lock to turn over the ball a fraction less of where we're at. Knock on wood that happens. And you're talking about instead of losing these games by a possession to winning this game by a possession or more. And that's what's going to push us over this edge. Yeah. So I'm excited. I think this team, you got the continuity going into it. We're going to talk about this whole lot more going into next week and into the preseason. But I'm excited for this team. I'm excited for Patrick Surtain. I'm glad to have him on our team. And that's where we're at. So anything else from you guys?
Just Christopher shouting out Team Puffball for life, Christopher.
Oh,
thanks for being out here representing.
Damn it. Team Visor for the win.
No, get out of here.
I don't have my visor. Except for Team Visor didn't show up tonight. God,
that's right.
Damn it.
Yeah, he's probably sitting on the couch. Jared,
with a big thing of like cookie dough. Like,
Jared, I
this
hope
shot
somebody
made me
brought
feel
you
crappy.
Gatorade.
No.
I hope somebody brought you Gatorade, Jared.
It's like my internet went down, but I also got the shot today, and I don't feel good. And I'm gonna eat this raw cookie dough.
Let's get Jared the red Gatorade. He really needs the red. Cowboys,
the red.
Steve Parsons. All right. Anything else, boys?
Much love,
I
fellas.
think we'll do that.
Go
Good hanging out with you
Broncos.
guys. Good
Go
hanging out with everyone
Broncos.
else. Yes. Cheers. Go
Go
Broncos.
Broncos.
Take care.
Do what I like, yeah, I do what I like, yeah, I do what I like. Sipping goose, sip is right, and I go with the flow, yeah, I go with the flow, yeah, I go with the flow, cause I know I'm the show. In the zone, here I go, in the zone, here I go, in the zone, here I go, yeah, they know I'm a pro.